Yep, we can. Hello, we are live.
Aye, aye.
Good evening.
Yes, we should introduce actually, Tom, our guest. We've got two guests tonight, but at the moment we've got our number one guest is Ryan Keneally. Ryan, we always ask, what is your choice of beverage this evening?
So I've actually got work tomorrow, unfortunately. So my choice of beverage is a lovely lager, which is a Estrella. Nice. I put this in the top bracket, category A of lager.
Good.
Different gravy to your Carlin and your Fosters and stuff, and that Stella nonsense. So yeah, I'm on that, and I've got a couple of the beer Moretti's later on.
Right. So you just taking it steady. You're just having 8 instead of 14 tonight, yeah?
I'm just having the 8. Although after that first Lay's just won in the first race, I might go on.
Yeah, that was Ryan's play in the first was to lay the Chelmsdog, and he led all the way, and I joined in. So
can only get better.
Things can only get better. Tom,
is up.
I know you're busy, Tom, trying to sort things out. Choice of beverage?
I'm back on the Stella, which obviously treated me well in the first week. I've gone for it in a San Miguel glass, though.
Right.
You know the Stella glasses have the gold around the top. It reacts with my
that?
beard like that. It reacts with my beard and gives me a little rash. So I can't use those glasses.
So you've got a bit of a pseudo drink. So have I, because this isn't actually Stella. It is a premium lager from Morrison's.
£1.20 a can.
The punting not been going well this week, Peter.
It's beautiful. It still does the same job. It does the same job, so it's great.
Love it.
And actually, later on, I've got a new one. So that's a Morrison's one, 4.8, by the way. I've got a Belgian lager for later, not Stella, but from Marks and Spencer's, 5%. So that'll do the job as well. So,
market there, Paul, haven't you, for them ones?
Yeah, that's upgrade. Yeah. I think actually we're waiting for David Mitchell.
Yep.
Who obviously plenty of you will know, and I think he's on the San Miguel. He says so. That's something to look forward to. So Ryan, we were talking about earlier on about Trixie's. Did you sort one out in the end?
I have gone with the Trixie, yes.
Right.
Just get it on my phone now, very quickly. So the Trixie that I've gone with, and if the first race is anything to go by, I would avoid this like the plague.
Nah.
I've gone for what I believe would be a good thing, Trixie, which is Corin Logan, Slippy Eva, and Gilo Gold Dust.
Right.
And then I've gone for a value one, which would be Droopy's Flight in the next. Kishlawn Shakira. And I've gone with Iams Alexi.
Yeah.
I think could lead.
That's a good value, Trixie, that. We have an arrival. There he is.
Good evening, David.
All right, David.
I'm saying it's all right.
Yes, we've done all the introductions, but when we start the introductions, we have, and we've kind of preempted it because you did text us earlier on. You need to give us your choice of beverage this evening.
Right. I've got Blue Tick George here with us as well.
Aye.
Can you see him? I'll just turn the camera.
There he is.
Good legend. What a legend.
We're on the San Miguel tonight. He's like my shadow, so he'll be popping in and out all night, no doubt.
Good. Brilliant.
A welcome addition. Viewers will notice we've got a banner at the bottom. Thank you, Bresbet, who are sponsoring our charity bet and competition for this evening. Start with the charity bet. So we've got, first of all, they are betting without the favourite on all races tonight at Romford. It was something we talked about last week as types of bets that we enjoy. I think George Burton suggested it, and Bresbet having a go at it tonight. There's a couple of favourites we fancy taking on tonight, so that should potentially be quite interesting. And we also have, if I can get it to show, I can't, I'll just pop it up on a new screen. A charity bet, which will be, got a record number of screens open tonight.
Doing the clock. Which hopefully Ryan's not going to start off with loser after loser. So
you only get better now, Paul.
That's what we're hoping, mate. That's what we're hoping.
When Droopy's Flight wins for the lads. or Welshie and stuff.
At long last, the Romford double charity bet. So between the four of us, we've chosen Call of Annie Auntie and Warzone Tom both to win. Got £50 on for Sheffield RGT, but that is open to all punters, and 7-2. Quite an attractive looking bet.
Yeah, it's a good bet. Yeah, if you think, I suppose evens and evens would be 3-1, so it's an enhanced double, which we quite fancy. So hopefully that will oblige. And we did post up earlier on as well about we were trying to raise money, and that was what Bresbet wanted to do, was raise money for the Retired Greyhound Trust and in particular the Sheffield branch. So we've actually put up a fund me page as well. So if you can look on the Twitter feed, you'll be able to, hopefully, as Ryan gives us loads of tips later on, if you get a little bit of a profit, say, there you are, lads, that's towards our fun this evening. Let's hope that happens anyway.
Or instead of giving if you want to follow my tips, instead of giving it to the bookies, just give it straight to a charity now. It's a much less better place, I'm telling you.
We have also got our 3-2-1 competition, which launched on Twitter this week. So you've got to pick the winner in 3 races. Not much spread of picks. I think I've chosen 3 really bad races for this competition. They're all weighted by your picks. We'll see how we get on with the scores for the night. First one is 6:43. Good few entrants there. And we will keep a track of that as we go through the evening.
Excellent work, Tom. Excellent work.
Thank you. It's been a bit of a busman's holiday putting together that Excel spreadsheet. I must say I've enjoyed it while I've been watching the NFL.
And tips then for this race 2, the 6:28, the Romford Friday night 500 standard, which is Heat 1, a competition which will spin over to next week, which obviously will have the final of the Essex Vase, and we'll be covering that. Lads, your thoughts? Start with Ryan.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I've gone with Droopy's Flight in this. I thought it was a fairly good price. I thought I had a good makeup, actually. I thought 3 were moving in ever so slightly. And I looked at Free's run the last time at Central Park, and it came out fairly well, in fairness. And then it didn't show the greatest early, so I'm just hoping that Droopy's Flight can just get half a length lead at the traps on that, get inside pocket Elvis, obviously, and then I think chop the bend, and it will make all. Really good section at Perry Bar. Its latest time, 28.51, is a good run at Perry Bar, and getting beat by Pinpoint Villa over a short head is no disgrace. So, yeah, I'm on Droopy's Flight, 5-2 at the moment, hoping for a bit of maybe drift out 11-4, 3-1.
Yeah, to pop this up before we come to the next one. Scotty Dog, it's hard to have a bet before watching a few races of the state of going at most tracks. That's something we've talked about today, isn't it? Whether there could potentially be a going bias tonight, and as such, we've kept our powder dry to get our bets on during the evening tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout, and at this time of year when you get salt in the track because of the frost, and then then the water, it can get a bit puddingy, and it was definitely heavy. I think it was definitely favouring the dogs middle to wide. It was probably against the raiders more than anything else. And obviously now you've got to sort of take that form into the round a week later. So yeah, it's a fair shout. Whether you keep your powder dry or whether you just take a view, that's obviously down to each individual punter and viewer. But it's something that certainly to keep in consideration. Obviously,
Droopy's Flight on the drift here. What do you think, David?
David, thank you.
I'm with Pocket Elvis in this. Last week, really impressive. 6 1/4 length win, easy as well. And if you look at the form, very, very rare this dog's led up. And I just think if it comes away again the same this week, I don't think the 4 will be able to live with it. I think the 5 will just stay nice and straight to the turn, and that'll be it. But I was really impressed last week, and I didn't bet it last week, and it was 11-2. But nice little drift at the minute, 3-1. I thought it'd be shorter than that.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm actually with the 2 lads selection. I made them joint favourites, and I agree with David. I think Pocket Elvis actually gone to a decent price. I think he'll edge in. I think Ryan will agree. Droopy's Flight will edge in, but then so will Lila's Boy and give him the room. I took a chance actually with Glengarde Daisy against Pocket Elvis last week, but I'm not even sure whether the switch to trap one is actually going to be an advantage for Glengarde Daisy. I'm not too sure whether she'll trap from the extreme inside berth. I mean, I could be wrong, but she's certainly running well, and she's certainly a marginal favourite on the show there. But I think all things being equal, if 5 gets any kind of start like he did last time, because he missed it on the previous visit to Romford, then I think his early can take him to. I think he's got slightly more early than Droopy's Flight.
I think 24-21. I think Pocket Elvis can go quicker than that as well. You know what Romford's like. You've got to have at least 3 or 4 visits before you actually get to learn the nooks and crannies of the place. But I can't have Glengarde Daisy shorter than Pocket Elvis. On the form last week, that's that myth. I don't know how that's.
Yeah, even though it was in track 4, it actually came away quite well, and it did move to the rails, but Pocket Elvis led it fair and square to me. So Glengarde Daisy would have to take an absolute flyer and show a little bit more to the bend for me if it is to lead the race. And I do guess if it does lead, then it probably will win. I'm just going off the basis of what I've seen last week, and that Droopy's Flight, I hope, comes away well and is within half a length of turning inside Pocket Elvis then, and then I think it'll be race over. But it's a really, really close race at Romford, as you can see by the betting.
It's the inconsistency of the trapping for me that makes it probably not a big betting race. I mean, Glengarde Daisy 376, 24-21 on the card. Pocket Elvis did a 372 last week, but the runs for it were 386, 379. So a real fluctuation. I think whatever leads probably will win, but you can make a case for a few of these.
Yeah, I guess an interesting runner, and third favourite is Portal Flight, which is Paul Burr's dog, which came here from last week, missed it, and then went back to Yarmouth and took one and ran well, and has been running well in A1s at Yarmouth, but doesn't seem to really trap, and probably will edge in a little bit and could even track him behind Pocket Elvis if not started.
Yeah, 5-16 split is really, really, he's flying at Yarmouth in fairness to it. So yeah, not without a chance.
Can start, but doesn't seem to have done that at Romford as yet. But all loaded. Do you want me to do a com, Tom?
Yeah, go on. PL comment.
Call 4 home, please.
Here we go then. Hair's running. Away and race. A fairly level line leaving in the boxes, and one up on the inside trying to muscle up his 5 into the turn, and Pocket Elvis has gone round in front. It's Pocket Elvis from Portal Flight on the outside, making inroads is Granry Kid showing good middle gears now to move into second at the third turn. But Pocket Elvis has a 1.5 length lead from Granry Kid as they turn for the judge. Pocket Elvis all out from Granry Kid tight. But I think we've held on with Pocket Elvis for David Mitchell, 1 out of 1 so far, I believe.
That's a hell of a run from the 2 dog there.
It is.
Really, really good run. I know it's trialled over 5.75, so it gets a nice trip. But I just like this 5 dog. I think it'll be one of these dogs at Romford that it'll just keep week in, week out, just popping out, and win. You tend to find them at Romford, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of looks like maybe a 4 dog to me, but I think Droopy's Flight was always going to give him a little bit of room, so it didn't really matter in the way that they were drawn. Obviously, Glengarde Daisy moved off and caused a little bit of crowding, but you're right, David. Two's run on really well, and you can probably understand why they gave Granry Kid the 5.75 trial, because they think he'll stay that little bit further.
Yeah.
I think you'd like to be on that in a S1 next week, S2 next week. When you're a nice little S1, I think next week you'd like to be all in.
I reckon.
But again, I couldn't understand the betting. I mean, I know the Glengarde Daisy got the 1 tonight, but it wasn't. I wouldn't have had Glengarde Daisy shorter than a Pocket Elvis, and I know it's easy to say after the event, but hey ho.
Yeah, there was nothing last week. Oh, sorry,
I
Paul.
think we said it before the event, David. To be fair, you did say that you didn't really understand why she was quite favourite in front of Pocket Elvis anyway, and the form's been confirmed, and obviously that's what we're looking at from videos and form perspective. He looked like he had enough early to clear Glengar Daisy, and I didn't even know whether Glengar Daisy's switch to the Red Hole was actually an advantage.
I think is that 4-1 the first race, and then that finished 5-2, which is quite pleasing to see that the inside does appear to be running fairly well tonight as well compared to last week. So get your money on.
Absolutely. I've got to admit, I was tempted to tip up Droopy's Flight just for a bit of nostalgia, because Droopy's Flight out of a bitch called Droopy's Riona, and we actually owned a bitch out of Droopy's Riona, Droopy's Dazzle. She didn't run that many times. She ran at Crayford a few times. She was quite nice to start with, but she used to get a fungal infection in her toenail, so we had to retire her in the end, but she was quite nice. But first thing I like to notice is any dogs running that have previously owned dogs from the dam.
How many have you owned in total?
No idea. I think as a syndicate, we're probably maybe 20, I would say, in total. But then you have these little individual ones like Headford Flash, for instance, and you don't know. I mean, and most of them have been graders, you know.
And then George popped along.
There'll never be another George, I don't think.
Some dog. I was having a look back through his races, and I think he was first or second in something like 13 consecutive races and trials, which is a remarkable record.
I owe that dog a massive... I'll say it to you every time, Dave, but I owe that dog a massive apology, because when it first started running 4 bends, I didn't think he had quite the early pace to go with the dogs. And then there was a race, wasn't there, Dave, on a Sunday night at Central Park. Was it against Coolavani Kaiser, I think?
Yeah,
and they went at it for, I think it was a 500-metre race, wasn't it? And they went at 480. They went at it for 479 metres, I think. I think that was the race then where I just thought, you know what, Dave, hands up, this is a proper dog you've got here. And then obviously you stepped him up.
Not the first conversation, but conversation I had with Mark Wallace when we got to Yarmouth, for the Georgings final. First thing he said to us when he seen us was about Coolavani Kaiser, because they strongly fancied Coolavani Kaiser that night. I think Coolavani Kaiser went off about 4 to 5, something really short, and maybe even shorter than that. And he said after that, he was the same as you. He said, that's a nice dog. Yeah.
Where did you get him from?
We picked him up from Droopy Stud. We actually had another dog called Droopy's Crack, as in having a conversation. And he was okay, but he was probably more like a 5 or 6 grand dog, like nice open dog, but it wasn't a competition dog that we wanted. So we, had some chats with Droopy's Good and ended up getting George over. And since as soon as he arrived, we took him to Harlow a couple of times, and he ran some really fast times. We had a big bet for the Derby that was stood to win about $250,000. When he got to he got knocked out in the quarters,
quarterfinal.
And we took him, and he took on a fast dog. I can't remember its name now. Martin Chapman, Lofty, and that used to own a nice sprinter. I think it was a Crayford dog. It ran at Romford a few times. Giselbertus.
Yes.
It was really, really nice dog, that. And George beat that dog in a trial. It was only like his 3rd or 4th trial, and Giselbertus had obviously run in the Guys and Dolls.
Yeah. So
we knew straight away that we had a special dog, but I think it was more his consistency than anything else that made him, like top of the tree.
He was desperate in that final at Hove, wasn't he, as well? I think I bet him at 9-2. Was it Regency?
Yeah, because he got the inside, didn't he?
He got the inside. Oh, desperate. Honestly, I really thought you were going to win that race. Going, I think, the 3rd bend, maybe. Something like that, I think it was. He got absolutely put in. But no, unbelievable dog. We'd all love to own one of them, let me tell you.
Absolutely. I don't think we'll own another one like George, to be fair. As I say, it was more his consistency at the top level. He could run 400 metres up to 700 metres, and he would be able to compete with the best in the country. So just disappointing. We didn't get another probably 6 months out of him. The plan was always to retire him. I would say this coming summer. We thought we'd get the winter and get maybe a spring into him, but hey ho, you can't predict these things.
And one kind of good plus about him, David, was that he was a good competition dog, wasn't he? I suppose because of his style of running, he was quite a strong running dog.
Yeah.
And as you say, he was quite a dog that you could run over various trips as well. So yeah, really nice dog, quality dog, and a really nice dog to have. You different options with him.
Flexible, like I can remember having a couple of discussions with people like the guys on here, you guys who've got an idea about the sport, and they were saying to me, what you mustn't do is you mustn't step him up to 6 bends too soon, because once you bring him back down, he'll lose all that pace to go 4 bend. And he was one of those dogs that, I mean, he could run 6 bends, he could run, as I say, up to 700 meters, and we still brought him back. He ran in the St. Leger twice, and then we brought him back for the Madry, the 500, the Madry Exceptional
Toaster during the Derby, yeah.
He finished second in that. I think it was Drooper's Edition that beat him, but it was one of those dogs that you could just bring him back to 500, and you could send him up to 695, and it was easy.
And as well, David, it's lovely when he can run a track like Nottingham and Toaster, but also run over the tighter tracks as well. Over the sort of intermediate trip. So he's a lovely dog to.
Didn't he win at track 5 in Crayford as well? When you were talking about withdrawing him, yeah.
We put him in. It was that the Bussy, wasn't it? The Bussy Memorial.
Peter Buzzy, yeah. He used to, when I was at Crayford as a race manager for 10 years in the 90s, he was the track maintenance manager. He was different. Honestly, he was so good, Peter Buzzy.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, carry on.
No. I mean, we put him in that, and he drew track 5, and it was one of those that there was 5 railers in it, and he had to be the one that got put out into the 5. And I've always said he didn't like Romford. He didn't run Romford at all. We took him for the Champion Stakes, and he never ran Romford at all. I don't think he liked those lids very much. He had to get it right, the up and the forward and over ones.
Yeah.
He loved the likes of Harlow, Central Park, Nottingham. He loved those types of traps, but he just didn't like the Crayfords, the Monmore, Romford. And he absolutely pinged from 5. And I was surprised. I was saying to Ryan at the time, we were going to pull him out, but he pinged it. He was about 4 clear at the bend. But he was that type of dog. He could run fast time, 6 bends there. I think he did a 23:08, 4 bends at Crayford. That's the kind of
flying, yeah.
That's flying.
So he was just a nice dog, and now I think he misses racing, but he's just a couch potato now.
Yeah, and that sort of thing, David, as well. Obviously, you've got a fair following on Twitter, and to see the videos that you post, I think from the lads that are on here probably watching the guys and girls that are watching us tonight. That's sort of really good for the sport, and long may you continue to do that.
It's great to see, like any dog after racing that what the life is retired. But I mean, George there's no quirks to him. He loves the kids, loves attention. He's just a gentle giant, really. And why not? May as well show what greyhounds are like after they finish racing. That it's not the stereotypical they're abandoned in a way, or But he's got the run of the house, and he's loving retirement.
Good, brilliant.
Got a question for you.
You'll pop in every now and again, no doubt.
Paul, I've got a question for you, Paul. Probably after this next race, but it's regarding hair times from when the hair starts and when the trap's open, and the inconsistency of it and how each track varies.
You've done a little bit of a study yourself, have you?
They just all change, don't they? So I remember Bellevue used to be about 3 seconds from when the hair trap's open.
Yeah.
And then you go to some tracks and it starts halfway down the back straight. So yeah, it's just some things I don't understand why each track's different, and why is there not an industry set standard? That's
time. Interesting. Yeah.
I
must admit, I never really thought of anything like that, other than every now and again you might say, "Cool, that was a long while." I think I always felt maybe Monmore was a bit, and I think sometimes even when the starter waves the flag, to when then you think the hairdriver starts. I mean, he could be chatting to someone or having his sandwich, or he's down in the sea bar for a cup of tea. You never know, do you?
Absolutely.
never know.
I think Newcastle seems to be a really long one from when they start. I just think you see the dogs waiting for the hair to go past, and if it changes every time, the time changes every time, then I'd just like to know what your thoughts are on it, and if there should be an industry set standard.
I think there should be loads of industry set standards, but there's not. It seems as though
that's probably the bottom of the list.
Yeah, right. It doesn't really matter particularly, but yeah.
Let's have a quick look at the betting. So before tonight's show, we've all had a go between us at what our picks are. Those are, in theory, our picks this evening, although we're keeping our powder dry until the races while we keep an eye on what the going is. The boys have put up in this race are Mallow Stormzy and Russian Blake. Looking at the prices, they are becoming quite attractive.
Yeah, I think this could be a race where everyone lashes me like we all lash Ryan from the first race. Because I was quite sweet on Mallow Stormzy. I was doing the videos last night, and I even said to Lorraine, I said, "Look at this." I just thought he took off at Central Park. I know he can show form here as well. I thought he had really nice early, and I thought there was only 2 dogs going to bend here. 5, well, maybe 3 if he takes one. But I just thought 3 and 6 have met each other. Actually, they're both John's dogs, and they've met each other loads of times. But I thought that I might get a bit of a clue with 5 at a big price, and I think I'm wrong because I thought 15-2 was big, and he's now 14 on the Betfair.
I think 3 is a winner waiting to happen in the right race. Might prove me wrong tonight. I just think keeps coming second. It's raced against the Lakers Lee, Blast Off Mason, Russian Blake, who are all obviously very good dogs. I just thought with 2 inside, who is a really big dog and camping on his day, I just thought 6 had a fairly good makeup here.
11-10 now. It's becoming a very backable price, isn't it?
It's tempting me.
For our P&L, I've got a score on Mallow Stormzy at 12-1 and Russian Blake £30 at 11-10.
Come on, Stormzy.
I think Russian Blake will take the beating here.
Yeah, I think you're right. If he comes out, David, he's going to be really tough to beat because 5 will definitely edge in, but he's got 2 ways of starting sometimes, Russian Blake. We'll find out.
Plenty in the competition on Russian Blake.
This is the first leg of our comp, yeah, the 3-2-1, Tom.
It is.
Okay, hair's running. Heat 2 of the Friday night standard and away and racing, and 3 Eichels Rocco has got the best of the breaks and leads into the turn. 5 trying to pace up on the outside, and there was trouble there, and we lost the 3 at the 4. I think it was at the back of the pack. 3's gone on. 3 is Eichels Rocco with a big lead. John Mullins with a 1-2 here as Russian Blake is in second spot. Then in behind these comes Aero Activate. I think it was Bentley's Crew that we lost at the back of the pack, but it was 3. An emphatic winner in the end. Eichels Rocco has won it and won it well. He's got up on his feet at Bentley Crew. I did mark him off. He's been off 26 days. Don't like that personally myself. And he was very poor last time out, and I thought he was out of form, but obviously he took one there. But gladly, he's up on his feet.
You can add the 3 dog there to the list of dogs that I never get right. I bet that dog. I bet it against Slaker's Leighton Toaster. I bet it against Russian Blake before. I even bet it last week, Saturday morning at Greyhound. And the one time I think, you know what, I've given up on you now, and it goes and does that when I'm on this show. So
it's probably one of them dogs as well, Ryan, that probably breaks better from that sort of box as well.
Yeah, agree.
But he's definitely got, a fair deal of pace. But it does help when you trap like that. And John Mullins there with a 1-2.
Yeah, be a good time that I think as well. I think that'd be a reflection of how the going is as well, based on that time.
I'd agree with that. I think the 6 still ran well behind. Ran it to race, but nothing.
So, Tom, does that give us a small profit? Not down to me, but the other 2 lads.
It's not gone on the spreadsheet, so no, we're 50 down. Not the best start.
Plenty of time.
Oh, right. Did you not bet? I thought we bet 5 and 6 there, did we?
we were Stormzy and Blake. Let's have a look at the
Yeah,
Shrewies
sorry,
in
Icals
the
Rocco, yeah. Sorry.
RR Racing. Napped Icals Rocco. Very good, Judge.
Aye.
2 points there for Sam 123469. Leighton Davis, C. Beaumont, and Burra Watty all on the points.
Where's Kush at? Let's have a look at Kush. He's always got
there.
plenty. Yeah,
He's gone. Russian Blake, Call Me Steve, Gilo Gold-Dust.
If you listen carefully, you probably hear him swearing somewhere now, very loudly at that result.
He's on the leaderboard anyway. He's on the leaderboard.
Good old Kush.
We should do a spread on how many Twitter accounts he'll get closed by the end of this year.
He is a real character.
Stand up, yeah.
There's some great stuff in the chat. Some of it I can read out. Some of it I definitely can't.
Abuse of me.
There's usually a bit of abuse for the guests. It's not been too bad, apart from that. Is it me or does Ryan look like a young Peter Sutcliffe?
Oh, you know what? That's probably the worst comparison I've ever received. I was not expecting that. I've been called many things, but yeah, the Yorkshire Ripper is one of them that I've never prepared myself for. So thank you, whoever that was.
I didn't realise we could read the chat. I'm having a little read.
Yeah, I must admit, I've just seen a fell in there as well.
How do you find the chat? I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. I need to have a shave now after that. That PM has to be. Is it the lad on Twitter? Is it PI Punter? NI Punter. He loves the weights at Romford. Weight of a dog. If you're above 30 kilos,
weight, yeah.
If you're above 30 kilos, he will not be impressed with you at Romford.
Yeah.
In fairness,
I've noticed he started looking at the breeding side though. It's quite. I'm always really interested in the breeding side, and anybody that posts on Twitter about the breeding of, when they talk about Fernando Bales so a lot of it's interesting. I do like it when people get into the technicalities of the breeding side and not. I don't think enough people actually talk about the breeding side of the sport. I know I've always been quite a harsh critic of another TV program that I won't mention, but they don't generally talk about the breeding side. And I think a lot of people are interested in it. And as I say, he's been commenting the last few days about American sires and Kinloch brand. I think he was on about Fernando Bale the other day.
Just on that, Dylan, I see that if Dylan is still here, I see that you joined me on Droopy's Fly as your best bet of the night. So please help me and get that money back somehow, Dylan, if you can. I'm sending out the white flag already at the moment after this start. So I want to bet a comparison.
Andrew Backhouse, Evening Boys, PL struggling on the Morrison's home brew.
Say that again.
He's flagged up you're struggling on the Morrison's home brew.
Yeah. Andy Backhouse. That's the Sheffield man, isn't it?
Yeah. Warren Bond, evening lads. Get the thing, those aren't your first of the evening. It's my first.
Paul, so how many beers did you go past to end up at Morrison's Special Brew?
It's not special brew. It's special brew. I think it's premium lager. That's what.
Premium lager.
I left it to Lorraine because I've been. Funny enough, throughout January, I thought, well, I'll knock the beer on the head. I think actually, after the first one we did which was the 7th, Tom, wasn't it? The Friday the 7th. I thought I better start calming down the beer. So I had a week off. But then when it came to the second show we did on the 14th, I thought I've got to have a beer because that's what it's all about. So I can't let the viewers down and do that dry January shite. So
I did it last year. It was the longest month of my life.
Lorraine said, "Don't worry," because I sort of. She always says when she goes shopping, she says, "Now, do you need anything?" So okay, you get me a few beers. And she always says, "Well, you've got to pay for it because she doesn't drink." So it's like, go on, then there's the card. She goes and gets a drink for me. And normally, Lorraine being Lorraine, she's very, very good at sussing out the deals of the day, So she does me a favour, really, because she don't mind going to 2 different supermarkets. So now I've had the bit of sabbatical. I've had the week off this week again, no beer in the house. And all of a sudden I said, today I must go and shoot up the offie and get some beer. She said, don't worry about that. She said, I'm thinking she sorted it out for me. So I looked in the fridge and there they are nestling in the back of the fridge. Beautiful. So they're with the Morrisons, but she's got I said, 4's not going to be enough for Lorraine. It's just not going to be enough. So she said, don't worry. She said there's some reserves in the utility room. So there's the Marks and Spencers ready. So yeah, she loves a bargain, but I've got to tell her it's not like she's buying me Skull Lager or anything like that. She's getting some decent stuff. So
I actually had some Skull about 3 months ago. Somebody bought them for a laugh and said, "Have one of these." I was like, "Oh, it's horrible these days."
Yeah,
it's quite a posh drinking Carlo, that no.
What Skull?
Carlo, yeah.
Not Carlo, yeah. No. Every time I see Rai, he's always got something to say about Carlisle or the North.
I've never been there. Never will, hopefully. So I've got nothing against the North. Nothing against the North. Carlisle's not the North of Scotland, basically.
We've got a Bresbet special there, Tom.
We do. £20, £7.56 race. Get a £10 free bet to use on the rest of the card.
On the 756, yeah?
756, that is the Where's Lily, Wildcat Tony, Luna
So
Jezebel,
should we just have a quick
Rapid, Best
look at that one then before we go on to the next at Romford?
Good call.
I think me and you, Paul, got a good little fancy on this, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we have. Yeah, I think we have, Ryan. Yeah, so tell us what you think of this race then.
I think track 2, Wildcat Tony. I think I've seen 5-1 with Bresbet. I think that ran well last week against Sweet Cheeks. I think a 386 split will be good enough to lead the one who I don't think showed the most early, to be, if I'm being honest with you. And look at its sectionals at Hove. I think 2 should have more than enough to lead that. I think 3 will be moving off slightly, if anything, hasn't got the most early pace. And I do think 4's probably the fastest dog in the race. But I just feel that out of trap 4, when I do think it is a genuine wide runner, I mean, there's no, you're kind of guessing and hoping more than anything if you're backing 4 that's going to come out of that trap. Wow. I just think that 2 can still a march on these, and hopefully if it leads, hopefully it will make all. So I think your value bet for me would be that at 5-1.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that was just, listen, you could have been reading my notes there, because I agree with you that 2 is overpriced and 4 is a live danger. So all we need now is to see what David thinks.
I've got a totally different angle on this race. Totally different angle. I've watched back the 3, the 4, the 5, and the 6, and I can't see how they get a clear run. I think the 3, the 4, the 5, and the 6 will cause all kinds of problems for themselves before they get to the first turn. And I've picked, going on a big price, the one dog. 24.30 is not a bad trial. It looks like it lacks a little bit of early, but it might not need the early pace. If 3, 4, 5, and 6 get in each other's way, in my opinion, it's only really got the 2 dog to coast inside of. So I think at 9-1, the one dog's a great price.
Yeah, no, that's. I think we were talking about the race that Where's Lily was in last week, and I think George Burton agreed with me that she, and you mentioned yourself, Dave, that she's probably a little bit one-paced. But having said that, Wildcat Tony probably did look a little bit vulnerable last week, but that might have been on the ground. I just thought maybe the same as Ryan, that Wildcat Tony could get clear and maybe hang on. But yeah, you'd probably be looking round for Where's Lily, who in essence is going to be well drawn in behind. I thought Luna Jezebel would edge off a little bit. Richie Rapid will probably edge off a little bit. And I think Wildcat Tony will get all the room in the world. But so it's not beyond the realms that Where's Lily can track round Wildcat Tony. Yeah. So fair shout at a big price. That's our opinion then of the 756, which is a race where if you bet £20 with Bresbet, they'll give you a free £10 bet.
Okay, we've only got a few minutes. So these come around quick, don't they?
They do.
Like, they need to spread them out a bit more so we can focus on our drinking. It's not on. Let's get the odds up for this one.
I think that's because we've got the decent chat tonight. We've got the 2 lads that have got plenty of experience within the game and plenty of stories to tell. That's what we're all about here on Ground Watch Along.
Dave loves a story.
I like telling stories.
So do I. Yeah, so do I.
Me and PL talking at Toaster must have been speaking for about 3 hours.
I think you sent me to sleep that night, didn't you? Was that day before or I fell asleep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Executive box.
But there was an excuse for that why you fell asleep, Ryan.
Yes, yeah, you're right. So, yeah, listening to YouTube for 3 hours.
No, wasn't that, mate?
Probably. I'd love to say 12 beers.
It's because
but
you've been drinking since about 12 o'clock. Yeah.
Great times had by all.
Yeah.
I won't tell you how I ended up, by the way, that night.
Good.
Picks here, gentlemen.
Yeah. This was a fairly straightforward bet for me in that if Blast Off Mason just gets any kind of start, and he can miss it, don't get me wrong, he can miss it. But I think this box is a perfect box for him. And I thought that if he comes away running, he'll lead, and that should be the job done.
Any different opinions on this one?
A bit skinny at the price, mind. He's a bit skinny at the
I
price.
think it's a match race, isn't it, really, for me? 3 and 4.
Can 4 back run 3?
No, but like you say, 3. It went back run 3, but 3 can miss it. And 4 was very impressive last week. And its Irish form stands up against the best over there, doesn't it? So,
yeah.
4 to 1 to beat Deerjet Sydney.
He was. But I'd still say that if they broke level, 3 would lead 4.
I fancy 3. In fairness, I fancy 3 really strongly. Yeah.
Well, you cannot eat value, so let's get on it. Let's say £60 at 65.
Yeah,
fine by me. Yeah, we're going in.
I think it's one of those races that once the trap's open, we'll know what the winner is in the first probably 5 strides. If Blast Off Mason leads, then it should be all over. But it's Romford, isn't it?
Yeah, true enough. I think the one or two kind of probably are more staying type of dogs, aren't they, over this sort of trip?
Yeah.
Swift Cope's obviously had back class, but
I think 5 has lost the yard. For me, 5 should be looking to run slightly further now. If you look at his runs at Yarmouth, I think it's lost that yard of early, which it used to have.
And obviously Paul's put a middle on him now, and he's kind of getting perched out in 5, which he doesn't want to be that wide, I don't think. But
6 actually has quite a nice draw. Probably if you get first 3, might make the first 3.
Yeah, and to be fair, David's only just acquired Farron Patsy from Seamus Gorn at a Toaster, so David could improve Farron Patsy, to be fair. So.
That was a good trial at Central Park as well. Beat a good dog in that Zoomy dog, and then 16:34 is a nice time Central Park. So yeah, keep an eye on that.
They're all loaded. So we've had a bet here. The lads have the selection of a Blast Off Mason in 3. We're hoping for a decent start. Seamus Cahill's got both 3 and 4 here as the hare approaches. And away and racing, he's missed it, and 2 has flashed out. Stradine Azuro, pace then from Drahan Jet. Oh, we've lost one there at the back, and it's 2 gone on from 4. 4 now takes over. Drahan Jet has gone on from Stradine Azuro. Then in behind these comes Swift Cope. We lost Farron Patsy at the back. Hope she's all right. As they turn for home, it's Drahan Jet that's going to come home on his own, in his own time. 4 beats 5 and 2. Swift Cope ran on for second. At Stradine Azuro, there he is. Back up on his feet there, and that is good to know.
Always the danger.
He's just missed it, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he has got that in his locker, hasn't he? Blast Off Mason. That's the worry. He can come out on all 4s, and that's exactly what he did.
I think you'd be. I mean, 4's running well in fairness, but I think that dog's got plenty more in him over a 480, 500 metre trip in this country. So I'll be basically watch this space, I think, for that dog. Very, very fast.
Yeah, it kind of looks like they probably took him to Romford thinking that he's class and we might be able to get him in with the dogs that we take on a Friday night. Because you wouldn't really think that necessarily he was a 400 metre dog, would you? But, he probably rode his luck a little bit there as well.
It's been well trialled in Ireland, though, hasn't it? If you look at its form from Ireland, you don't generally see them run for that long in Ireland before coming over to the UK. But it's a funny decision when you look at its form to go 400 metres at Romford. Then again, it's
paid off two
exactly.
What do we know?
What do we know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no. And hope that the dog that fell's okay as well.
Yeah.
Have we got any times for tonight? Quite interesting to see how fast that time was and the race before.
I'll get the 3:43.
They both look quite quick, didn't they?
24:11 Rocco's run, which is a good time. Pocket Alvis did 24:29, but took a bit of a bump, didn't it, the first bend? So, and Charm Switch did 35:34. So I'm guessing the track's not normal, to be honest, isn't it? Yeah, good. Yeah.
I think that'll be a fast time. I mean, what did it do last week? 23:90.
Yeah, it flew last week.
23:90 is a cracking time, isn't it?
Yeah, do you remember the time a couple of years ago dogs used to be doing 23:80s, 23:70s, some of them? Rarely getting now. Is that standard of dogs, or is the track just not the same?
Well, probably not the same, isn't it? It's a switch as well, Ryan, isn't it? They've gone from different boxes now as well, so it's funny because you probably don't take that into consideration necessarily, because when you look at how you record a time, for instance, it's done from when the traps go up and there's literally a button that is released which sets the timer off. And I remember when I was at Crayford, they went from the old McGee hair, the outside on the arm, to now in the channel to the Tom Smith, and they all had to trial to get to grade back on once we'd relayed the outside running rail from being on it was literally on pulleys and a series of wooden beams standing above the ground to actually being in the trough in the iron the iron where the cable goes through that.
Yep.
And what I did was, because people are and definitely greyhound punters, they're people of creatures of habit. What I did was I got the lads every time we had a trial, knowing putting the dogs on the early part of the trial session, knowing what you think they probably should do for the journey, bearing in mind the trip hasn't changed. But obviously it's going to slightly change because of the hair mechanism. I think we did actually have a new set of traps. So what I did was I tried to get them to pull the timing mechanism in and out to try and get it as similar as you could to the old times. And I think nowadays people don't really worry about that. They just go, oh, it is what it is, bosh, and away you go. But me being me, a bit, probably, would you call it OCD? I don't know. But it's just, just try to get things so that people don't moan and groan. But you're right, that sort of thing, Ryan, could have gone from being from one side of the traps to the other, and that's where you don't get quite your quicker times.
I wouldn't call it OCD. I'd say it's showing attention to detail.
Yeah, well, that's me,
being honest,
probably,
which is something that is quite often dismissed and overlooked.
Yeah,
in this
probably.
industry, unfortunately, you care. So
yeah, that's what I do. Exactly.
Somebody just wrote 24:10. That was.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Good.
I think you'd love to see that over a proper gallop.
I think.
Yeah, someone before the race, Dylan Fitzsimmons, 4 will be a 5 times better dog away from Romford. Literally the last track he'd want to run well.
If there's anyone that knows his Irish dogs, it's Dylan. So
exactly.
take note with that.
I think he went through the entire card on first round of the Irish Derby last year. Bit the winner in every single race, which is some doing.
Shame he didn't do it for the English Derby when I followed him in this year. Last year.
To be fair, seeing the state of you at this or the last Derby, I'm surprised you could follow anyone.
All right, Dave. Have you drank all them shots, by the way, that you owe us?
No, I haven't even started.
What was it for again? What was it for?
I'm not saying it because you'll just add to the list. You and Rob Howe, you're obsessed. I can't even mention it anymore.
I like to enjoy myself Derby final day. So we get there Friday night, we have a few drinks, wake up early on the Derby day, and everyone joins us about 12 o'clock, don't they, in the Saracen's Head?
Yeah.
And then it's
in Northampton?
No, it's on Toaster High Street.
Oh, okay.
It's a lovely little hotel pub restaurant place. And then we start at 12 midday. More people join us throughout the day, and then we head to the track about 5:30, and then the rest is history, really. I leave my phone in the hotel room because by the point I'm in, I don't want to be betting on the phone or anything like that. So I get all my bets on early, get the beers in, and it's just having a great day. And the derby final last year was an unbelievable night. In fairness, the atmosphere was incredibly good.
I can remember standing on the balcony because kind of after racing, all the retired, the dogs and everything, they went upstairs and had a wander around. So we were upstairs. I remember looking down, everybody had cleared out, and there was just Ryan on his own looking up, shouting, "I've lost everything." So I shouted on him, come upstairs. And me and PL were standing talking as you're walking the door. And he was gone at that point. I think he was rolling around on the floor with the retired Greyhounds.
I would love to deny that happened, but I can't remember it. So there's every chance it did happen.
You can't get away with anything these days. People have got camera phones and.
I think Gerwin Price was there, and I think you were going up to him and saying, "I'll beat you in a game of darts." And
that sounds like something. I probably said I'll beat you in a fight. To be honest with you, as well. I was that drunk, so I was looking to probably walk away with my tooth intact. Cheers for that, Dave. I ended up falling asleep on behind the hook. I couldn't get in my room because the brother Joseph he's the biggest snorer going when he's had a drink. And he had the key. I couldn't get into the room, so I ended up stuck outside my room at 3 a.m. So I ended up falling asleep. Wow! Apparently, Nathan Corden and his son come back from the hotel at 4 a.m. They went into reception, and I was sat behind the reception desk in the chair, fast asleep. Because I couldn't get into my room, so I decided that was the best place to go. Just pretend that I was a receptionist. Don't remember getting to my bed, but Nathan assured me he's filmed it and sent the video out. So yeah, I must have had a really, really good night.
We had breakfast the next morning. You weren't that bad on the morning, to be fair. You were rough, but you weren't.
No, I handled it well. I woke up feeling I felt okay until I seen my bank balance the next day and how much I'd actually lost. And yeah. But you know what? We're going to do it again this year as well coming up. So all good.
I don't think me and Tom will be able to do that, Tom, because we'll probably be doing one of these, won't we?
Yeah, most likely.
Have you got a dog for Tulsa this year, Ryan?
Not yet. There's one in the pipeline. Me, my brother, and my friend. You know Rob Coulthard, the old Hall Green racing manager.
Yeah.
We're in early talks about one, so we will be looking to have one for the derby. Just watch this space really with that.
They're getting expensive, the dogs, aren't they? Do you see the prices of that Sheffield sale the other day?
Average $2,000 or something.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I mean, it costs that much to get them from, to breed, to the sapling, to schooling, to get them to racing age. It averages out at about £1,500 to £2,000 per pup. So I don't blame it. It's more the top end, I think. Once you get into the likes of George, I don't want to keep going back to George, but the likes of George, this day and age, it would probably be 25,000 easy.
What did you pay for him?
Well, little less, not much.
Dave, that's not a secret now. What you pay for that dog?
The missus could be watching this, so just a little bit less.
I think with especially top end, I think now that prize money has finally increased to a point. I think that was naturally then going to increase the prices to buy the better dogs.
I think it's the people in the sport willing to spend as well. That sort of creates a little market, doesn't it? Times in the sport, there's only 2 or 3 people paying big money for dogs, but that becomes 10 people, and suddenly the competition is just pushing them up and up. And I guess with the reductions in breeding over the last 5-10 years, there's less of the good dogs. I mean, Early Impact, my first good dog, who I talk about every single week, $8,000. For a dog that had done 29.50 around the 515 at Hove. I mean that nowadays, $15,000 probably.
Yeah, but probably Tom, at the time, in that day and age, you think, well, I've got to pay $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for a quality dog. Probably you're thinking to run on a Romford on a Friday night.
Yeah,
I did that as well. With a set of lads wanted a dog. We had a dog called Brogan T-Bone, who we put with David Mullins, and he won a few for us at Romford. Eventually, I give him to he went to Mark and Haley's and he won the scurry for us, and he still holds the track record actually at Sheffield over the sprint trip. But yeah, I think we paid nine grand for him, something like that. But that was a sort of ballpark figure in those days. And I have to say, though, the sales that Nathan and James are doing, they look quality, don't they? You can't really.
There's been some,
guys,
yeah.
they're
No,
good
absolutely.
quality. They're good quality dogs. They're young dogs. They're not. You know, they're not the 200, 300 pound dogs just for grade. They're actually giving you a quality dog that you think you got some kind of chance with.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hold my hands up and say fair play to them. I've really been impressed with them and the way they do it, the stream, and even the last sale at Sheffield they did with the little snippets on social media of what's happening and the little bit of the auction. It's great, brilliant. That's what you want today.
Paul, they do it properly. They do it how it should be done.
Attention to detail,
and they get the rewards. And I think Dylan summed it up in fairness. Dogs that are worth 4 or 5 grand and now 12 grand minimum. Unfortunately, it's the way of the times.
Yeah.
And I guess the big owners are few and far between now. So yeah, hopefully the prize.
But you don't
money...
think though, Ryan, that when if and I think I saw a piece where Billy Ball said he kind of still trawls through watching videos, and you got to watch the videos, but you still got to do all the donkey work in between and ring up and go, no, he's not for sale. Oh yeah, no, he's 12 grand, and you only think he's 6, and all that in between. You go to the sales, you see him with your own 2 eyes, and then you make your judgment when you're there, and it's all there for you. So, and you're not. You know, you're just trying to buy something that maybe will give you that bit of fun, and whatever happens, like with Tom with his dog, you know, you end up in a Derby final. And the same with David with Blue Tick George. That's what you dream of when you embark on that owning of a dog. And funny enough, I had dogs with Lynn Cook and a lad, Tony. He joined forces with me. He liked the breeding, you know, for Roxo Magic and the higher butt dogs that we had as well, and in the end, I just sort of scaled right back, and I've literally got one dog now. I moved away from Nottingham for no other reason than it was locked down, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. So I wanted to just scale back down. I've got one dog, but he's actually trying to embark now into having more dogs. And he went to that Sheffield sale, and he actually bought a dog that was bred by Guilfoyle, which was the most success that we've probably had is the Guilfoyle Kennedy breeding through Roxo Magic, and he bought a magical prefix dog, a real young pup, and that's the thing that I think he paid about £3,000, but he's also on the converse side bought into a 3-month-old pup, and someone's rearing, I think up in your area, I think actually, David, but. So that's the stuff that dreams are made of. So I don't think there's too many people now that are going to pay that 30, 40, 50 grand to buy a Derby dog. They'd rather buy the 10, 12, 15 grand dog to hope that they can progress it to be somewhere near that.
No, and it's like the Guilfoyle, the Sizzling Sarah dam line, isn't it? That the Paddy Guilfoyle really has all these good dogs like Roxo and Magic. That's from the same dam line.
Yeah.
Magical Bale from the same dam line.
Yeah.
To even invest in these dam, I mean, that's what we've started doing now. I mean, I really take more of the active role in the Australian stuff rather than the UK stuff. I kind of leave that to Matt for. But Matt's fantastic at finding these type of dogs. I mean, we've got Blue Tick Delia, who's out of Droopers Daniil. Well, you can't get any better breeding than that. And she won a heat of the Georgines. We've got Blue Tick Jenny. I can't remember who she's out of, but you can pick up some nice bitches or nice dogs with nice breeding, and especially at these sales. And the magical dogs, there's nothing. They're absolutely immaculate, and you know from the Guilfoyles that everything is going to be correct. Exactly. Everything's going to be done to the absolute nth degree.
100%. That's what I said to Tony. I said, he asked me actually. He was asking me about Kevin had some pups for sale. They were Dorota's Wildcat, Galloping Moon, and he wanted to he wanted a dog pup, and when he inquired, the dog pups are gone. And again, the other thing that was there within I think the sale kind of jargon, if you like, was that they were going to John Mullins. Well, John Mullins rears all the last litters of pups that I've had. He's reared them for me, and they are immaculate. They are beautiful.
John Mullins does a job. I think he did the whole of the Signy Ace litter.
He did.
Litter. If you talk to any like Kevin Hutton and the rest of them, they always say John Mullins is top of the tree in the UK. He really knows how to produce a dog.
I get on really well with John. I get on well with David as well. I had a lot of dogs with David, but I get on really well with John. John's one of those lads that he's kind of he's straight down the middle, and he is what he is. And some people find that a bit funny because he says what he thinks. But with me, that's what I like about him. I just think you know where you stand with him, and he's known dogs since he was a boy, and obviously his mother and his father were brilliant with dogs. So he's definitely in the genes. I know that much. But yeah, John looks after his dog well, and that kind of didn't work out for my pal Tony, and he ended up getting the magical dog, which, like, you've just really kind of vindicated what I said to him, David, that he's not done wrong there. So yeah, so it's good, very good.
2 minutes to the off in this race.
Borough Fan TV. Is that Watty?
I don't know. No, it's not. There's more than one Borough fan.
There can't be more than one Middlesbrough fan. Why? Why would you? So, am I on the Corner Vanny double? I fancy Auntie. Early payers, I think, lead all the way. Banny, I think, is in a tough race. Wasn't particularly impressed how she stayed last week, actually. But I do think she'll lead. I think it's between 3 and how close. One more turn, Kishon or Shakira. So I do think double has a good chance. And just to confirm, Stephen, Bradshaw, I was not knocking one off then. I was getting another beer, which is a beer Moretti. So I apologise for the odd noises that were going on in the background.
And then the 7-2, the 6 in this is the 7-2, the 6 looks quite attractive.
That's far too big for me. I mean, I noted the 6 dog down and I picked it in this race, and I've noted next to early pace. I mean, she watched the race last week. The early pace to burn and drawn out in the 6, perfect, exactly where it wants to be. I mean, look at its sectionals: 377, 375, 377, 378. I mean, don't get any more consistent at the box.
4-1. 4-1.
Way too big.
I fancy 2. I'd be careful of 3. 3 darted to the rails last time I ran at Romford.
Agree with you. Yeah, I totally agree.
Fed straight at Central Park.
Yeah, 3 at a big price is definitely.
Yeah, I was on Beeper's Hyacinth last week, actually, but I'm just worried about whether the ground ain't as good tonight. But let's see. Away and racing, and 3 has flashed out and moved inwards, and it's 1 punching up on the inside. Lessons in Life's going to go round in front just from Zari Rose. And then alongside that one comes Fayemi Jezebel down the back straight. Zari Rose has shown good middle gears and kicks on for Paul Burr with a 2-3 length lead. Disputing in behind his Lessons in Life and Fayemi Jezebel, but up towards the line. Zari Rose has done it nicely and run away from her field in the end. She promised to do that, and tonight she's delivered.
That's a good run, that is.
The money knew.
That's a really good run, that is. I think. I mean, if you look where 3's gone anyway,
she's walked out as well, by the way, Ryan.
She's shown really, really good determination there to get through, and excellent trapcraft actually. I think if you're into 3 again at Romford, you're praying you get trap 1. I think there is a run in trap. I think there is a run out of 3 as long as Bronny gets trap 1. But really good winner there from trap 2. Impressed with that.
Yeah, that's a bit of a strange one, is it, from Dan Brabham? I don't suppose he's listening, but Millbank Peach doesn't really want a middle seed on her, I would have thought.
No.
She's more of a raider, and that was I think that was our joint worry, Ryan, as well, for Zari Rose. I thought, my opinion was Zari Rosie was the fastest dog in the race, but I was a little bit worried about a draw, and I think you're right. She'll be probably even better bitch out of red.
Dylan just made a great point. The wide looks dead out. You know, it looks the 6 dog hasn't lifted a leg in that race there. I mean, it's gone probably 3 or 4 wide into the turn, but even then, it's still not run at all.
Was that because, I mean, listen, I fancied her last week. I did, but she was probably in a weaker race. But was it because the ground was better last week, David, on the middle to wide? So now Zari Rose has been run on the bad ground last week because she's a tight railer. Beeper's Hyacinth is one of the better ground.
I think people said last week they roughly 30-40 spots difference from the inside to the wide. So I guess the way to look at it is if you're a wide runner tonight who ran last week, you're not going to have the joy of the same service last week.
That's the thing. And that was what I was trying to do while I was watching the videos earlier on over the last 24 hours. Look, don't get carried away too much with the outside. And whilst I made Beeper's Hyacinth second favourite, and I made Zari Rosie favourite, I wasn't really jumping up and down to have a bet in the race necessarily. I wasn't, because I was worried about the draw for Zari Rose more than anything else, not her ability, because I think if you put these in solo trial, she'd be miles faster than anything else. And she's actually proved it in the race tonight. And I think you're right, Ryan, in that was really impressive because she was brave at the first bend. Yeah. But again, I think something we touched on last week to this week, I think Paul Burr's got a fantastic knack of knowing where to place his dogs. And this bitch obviously runs Romford well.
For what would be, I guess, considered quite a small open race kennel compared to some of the big guns, I think they do extremely well.
And I've seen his kennels. I've been to his kennels, and they're as clean, as immaculate as anything.
I mean, they had Swift Coat running out of its skin, to be fair, throughout the summer.
And what he did with Drum Do It Bomber last week.
Absolutely.
Fantastic run.
Inside as well, trap 2, wasn't it, last week?
Exactly.
So
what you'd say perceived to be against the ground.
Yeah.
Between June and July, he took the dog right through the grids at Yarmouth, 8, 8, 6, 4, 3, 1, and then picked up an open and then came here.
Yeah, no, listen, I know Paul and Penny reasonably well, and they look after their dogs well, and they know how to train a dog. So fair play to them. And I suppose we're doing these Romford Friday nights, and so I think Tom will agree. Last week we were highlighting that sometimes you need to know where to place your dogs, and there's certain trainers that have got that good knack of doing it.
He's got a dog.
Burr's one of them.
He's got a dog first time out at Toaster on Sunday. Just looking at what time it is now.
2780 Yarmouth dog.
It's a 2780 Yarmouth dog first time out at Toaster. So I think you'd be looking at that, because that's a flying time, that is. What time's the race? Have a look quickly. Has anyone got any opinions, by the way, of Toaster on Sunday? Have we looked?
I'm just hoping. I've backed Thorn Falcon anti-post.
I've bet it's in the 348 at Toaster, that dog. Yeah, looks to be quite fast. Well, looks to be quite a fast dog. Swift Raisin, it's called 2784. So I'll keep an eye on that. Slow starter in 2 as well, Jimmy United. So I'll bet Candyman for the anti-post. So
yeah, I must admit, Ryan, I think if I could have got the 20s about him, I would have done the same, and I didn't. So
I had 14s. Is that with 14s?
Yeah, run well through the competition. It's not a lot of dogs that improve through a comp.
I was actually one that thought possibly looking to step him up now. I actually thought that Romford 575 would suit him to a T, because I think that if you look at the dogs, a lot of good four-bend dogs who might not have the blistering early to leave four-bend races, I thought that he'd be turning quite handy at Romford, and you know how well he stays, but he takes the Toaster really, really well. And I think the format of having first 3 qualify from each race, I think that helps him massively as well. I think if the races that he's been knocked out in the semi-finals recently, he's finished 3rd a couple of times. So I do think the format of Toaster having first 3 qualified throughout, I think that definitely helps a dog like Candyman.
Yeah.
That's a question for you here,
Ireland, Ryan, isn't it, with the first 3? Sorry, Tom.
So is Candyman better than Calico Ranger? I would say different dogs. And I'd also say that Ranger ran in a time where the full bend scene was shit hot. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, it was the Wildcat, Expert, Bruiser's Bullet, Bubbly Bluebird, Murray Zach, like just to name a handful. I think at the time there was probably a good 10, 12 UK dogs who were top quality, who would probably compete with the best of the Irish really over here. And for Ranger really to get to the finals that he did and the runs that he did, I thought at that time was incredibly well. And then he won his big race over 6 bends. I think Candyman is probably more consistent than Ranger, if I'm perfectly honest. He got a bit more early pace. I think Candyman runs very similar to Holden Spy, more similar to Holden Spy, where he can turn a little bit handier down this. And I think his back straight pace, Candyman, is frightening, whereas Ranger was just your out and out stayer really. In a trial, he'd do ridiculously good times, flashy times, but in races against the top dogs, he'd just find a little bit of trouble. Like Burfan TV said then, he's an extremely exciting dog. I think you mentioned earlier, Dave, about George. You'd love to have had another 6 months with George over 6 bends. Exactly the same with Ranger. He won the Ledger, obviously. Perry Bell, which was a great night. I think he got to the final of the Yorkshire Ledger that year as well, finished 4th, I think. And he done his Gracilla straight after he'd done the Ledger. He was going for the Ballyregan Bob Memorial race at Hove. He did a Gracillus in a trial. And then because of what he won, he probably may have been able to come back, but the dog owed the kennel owner is absolutely nothing. So then Darren gave me the opportunity to if I want a new pet, which we did, and which I'm pleased to say we have. And after a couple of conversations, there's a question earlier about Ranger and breeding. Ranger is available for breeding now. We've just got to find the right bitch with plenty of early to suit his style really. But yeah, so if anyone does have a quick bitch, a fastaway bitch that you think Ranger would be suitable for breeding with, then yeah, please get in touch with me.
Hard to get the stud dogs going, isn't it? It's a big financial gamble for someone to take. It's 20 odd grand to raise a litter.
Fortunately, I've got quite a few people who are happy to support me with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it on my own. I'm telling you. But there's a good few of us who are looking forward to this little venture now. It's just getting. I've had quite a bit of interest, but we're waiting for the right one because you want to get that first one right. You know, breeding's like you want to get the first one right.
Yeah.
Like Holden Spy got it spot on with the first litter with Ranger, Blackjack, Brandy, etc. Tiny. So we just want the right one to then hopefully then take off with that. So yeah.
Touching on that though, it is difficult getting a stud dog started. Really, it's getting the quality that you obviously, because you do get phone calls wanting A6 bitches and stuff. Albeit you want to say yes, but in the back of the mind you're thinking. But it is difficult unless you've got your own bitches to put to them. Yeah. I mean, touching on this, like Droopy Sydney, for example. Without Droopy stud, that dog would have been retired and would have never had a chance. But look where we are now.
Yeah, and you're right. That's the kind of the stud keeper stroke, breeding operation that kind of take that chance, have got experience, try a dog that they know was a fast dog, and it's not always the best Derby champion that produces to be a good stud dog. So you need to take that chance. But you're right, David, you're spot on in that you need the bitches.
You need the quality, and it's all about setup as well. And Ryan will have dealt with this. You've got to have the correct setup and everything. There's a lot of paperwork involved in having a stud dog, a lot of paperwork and a lot of control. People think it's just as easy as I'll take this dog and I'll take this bitch together and make it happen.
Really not.
In some cases, you've got to look after the bitch for a period of time. It's AI, frozen, chilled, different forms, different DNA tests, and it's not as easy as people think. But you do, I suppose, you do reap the rewards when you. I mean, Ryan will be the same. If he gets a dog out of Ranger, that'll be fantastic for him. Whether the dog runs A9,
doesn't matter,
or wins a Category 1, it'll be a buzz.
It's your baby, isn't it? It's your pride, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, of course.
Like, so, you know what I mean? And like just the buzz of it. I think when you see, if you had to do it, and you see them start from baby puppies, then the first trials, the first hand slips, stuff like that, and then the first time at the track, I think the emotions that you go through, nerves, excitement, I imagine it's just unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get it up and running. Like I said, we need that bitch, to be honest here.
Yeah, I might have one for you. Durando double.
Durando double. So if you find any 12 Ben races, Paul, then you've got a perfect match there.
You don't know that yet.
That one, so.
Actually, she's running Saturday night, 5:40 at Crayford. I put her with Jim Reynolds just to give her a bit of a last hurrah.
Okay.
She was with Patrick, and Patrick done wonders, obviously, to get her. I just wanted her to get into. It's really funny because obviously she qualified for the Durando final. It was the first time when her mother won it at Magic. She won it twice at Wimbledon. It was just a one-off. It's always a one-off, wasn't it? As a supporting race on Derby Fire Night. And Kevin Boothby at Toaster decided to have the heats in the final, which is good. And again, because everyone moans that I actually moaned because when she was at Nottingham, she's great at Nottingham. She didn't get in on the COVID year for the Durando that year, and I thought, well, me being an owner there, she'd bad the game, she never got in, and it crucified me. And the actual fact that she got through a qualifying stage just to get to the final. I don't know. She's running against Amza Royale, for God's sake, like and the Savannah Volcano bitch. And you think, well, I've got no chance. But that wasn't. It was the taking part that was.
And running her on Derby final night.
Exactly.
Like,
that was it. And
in fairness to that, I like the way that they actually did the semi-finals for Durando this year, and then ran a Division B race on finals night, because then it allowed them dogs who probably weren't up to the level of Royale and Volcano.
And everyone wants to see a staying race.
Yeah, absolutely. People like the staying races. They like the hurdles races. You see hardly any hurdles races these days.
No, you don't.
Outside the competitions.
I think there's a couple. Yeah, I think hurdle racing's. Yeah, I think there's a few tracks that may be having that so soon. So we'll see.
Some really good comments on the chat. We'll come on to those. What has drawn my eye, however, is the price on Corin Logan. 4 to 6, 4 to 7 all day. I dropped down to 2 to 1 on. With the inside seemingly running well, is this becoming backable?
I've backed it at 4 to 5, so I am.
I think on what
that's
most agree. Most agree the inside looked pretty dead last week. Listed a 367 sectional, 23.97. I mean, that is a lightning run on a fast track. That's very impressive, isn't it? Same box as well this week.
It's actually, Tommy's a dog that a pal of mine does the Crayford card, and I kind of get the marks, and we sort of do try to help each other and get on, and etc. And he's been following Corin Logan at Crayford as an A3 grader. And he's one of those dogs that, because he kind of looked a little bit quirky or a little bit, uneasy maybe at Crayford. But he looks like he's really taken, and funny enough, and obviously we were discussing with David earlier on about George running certain tracks. And I think that he's a better dog at Romford, a much better dog at Romford than he is at Crayford. I know the owner as well, Tom Mumford, is only a young lad and very, very, very clever guy, very, very switched on. And he said the same thing. Yeah, he just thinks that he's not really suited to Crayford, but because Dave Lee's graded at Crayford, he just thought that was the place would just persevere. But they've switched him literally to a maiden race, and he looks like a champion now.
I think Kush has had 13 to 2 he's put as well. He's had 13 to 2 on this for the competition.
Not often I can put one of Kush's messages up, so this is a rare treat.
I think it's I'm checking for swear words, but I can't see one.
That's just true, isn't it? That's just like that's gloating. That's poor.
I would have loved him to have put that up on Twitter though before the competition started. I'm not sure if he did, Kush. I'm sure he'll let me know. But I, honestly, at 4 to 5, I thought that was a massive price tonight. So yeah, honestly, if the rails are going better, which they appear to be, the question I'm going to put: how does this get beat?
Just a
PM thinks by Sweet Cheeks.
Am I right in saying that he just kind of stepped to the right a little bit, leaving the boxes? I don't whether he's 100% a track one specialist. I don't know, but whenever I say that, they go bang. It doesn't matter anyway. but I just kind of thought he stepped to the right, and I think that 2 edges in, and although 2 probably can't necessarily win, it's got a little bit of early and a fair bit of pace, but and 48 on Betfair, which is a bit silly, but that might be his Achilles heel in that if he doesn't bang,
risk of a bump by the two, or the two getting just in front.
That sort of thing, Tom. But really, essentially, we've been banging on it all night. He actually won against the ground, and now he's with the ground. So, it's probably a good thing, really. But
this is Romford, and you know what happened.
Exactly. That's why I'm kind of trying to keep
especially tonight,
not get carried away.
Six will shitting now.
Yeah, probably
6-5.
I don't fancy 6 at all. I've got to tell you, I don't fancy 6 at all.
If you've got runners, though, good luck, by the way, as well. I can say that. If you have got a dog, good luck.
Absolutely, it's nice to see most of the dogs owned. Obviously, usually the way for open dogs, but there's not many trainer-owned dogs on tonight's card.
What we want to see.
This dog produces a sub 24-second time here. It should never go back to Crayford. It should just stay at Romford.
Exactly, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Although Tom being Tom and David Lee being attached to Crayford, you probably expect him to be in the 380 gold jacket. Do you know what I mean? But,
it's imminent, isn't it?
It's got to improve 5 or 6 lengths to compare.
I do agree with you, David. I agree.
Come on, Paul. Shout it home.
Wave of the flag, then. Hot favourite in red here. This is the second semi-final of the Coral Maiden. The final will be next week. And they're away and racing, and the favourites come out flat-footed, and Bang On Mandy has led round here. Bang On Mandy for Lee Field. Now the favourite gets busy. Corinne Logan down the back straight. He's trying to get rid of Sweet Cheeks, who's shown good middle gears, but it is the 3 from 5. Then one's just checked up there at the back of the pack, and 5 goes on now. Sweet Cheeks for Bernie Doyle has kicked away from the 3 up on the inside. 2 qualified back in third. Oh, no, not qualified. It's 3 semi-final, isn't it? So,
well done, PM. A very good call on Sweet Cheeks there.
Yeah, Sweet Cheeks. I fancied that last week actually, but I thought might have a bit to do. But yeah, the favourites walked out.
I think you draw a line through that. I wouldn't even, if anybody's going to look at that dog's form in the future, draw a line through that run. So if you try and compare that run to last week, it's like night and day.
It's hit the bend at the wrong time. If it had stayed on its pitch, it probably would have been okay. But it's tried to go round the outside of the 3 just as it's turned left, and he's got himself lost on the track.
Got messy down the far side. No run at all. I'd just draw a line through it.
I think if it seemed to move off down the back of the second bend. I think if it stuck to the rails that was down the back, I think it probably would have got inside or come close to getting inside the 3. But I think it slightly moved off, and then 5 checked it. But no, really good winner 5. Running really well. So the bank balance has been stung, but if you bet 5, fair play to you.
It's one of them dogs. Corin Logan. He'll probably take your boots off. He's one of the where he'll probably flash out when you least expect it, and then when you really fancy him, he'll just make a mistake and look a bit of a moderate dog. But he's obviously quick because of the time he recorded last week. But
a couple of people on the chat asking if the one was waiting. It didn't look it to me.
I've got to tell you, Tom, and again, I did say it last week. He looked quirky at Crayford. He looked quirky, and I'm not bullshitting. I know Tom really well, and I'm not trying to disrespect the dog.
Actually, I'm watching the replay. I can see what they mean,
and probably Ryan as well. There's a fine line between being fast and a little bit kinky.
I think, yeah.
I would say 85% of the
probably Hold'em Spy would be a good example of that, Ryan.
85% of very fast dogs have got that little quirk to them because that's how they're brought up. And
exactly.
More.
But I think having watched that bat, I think if one wanted to chase their hair fully, I think it would have stuck to the rails down the bat. I think he lent it to 5.
I think he lent it to 5 a little bit.
Interesting one here. Go. I think Red's the first time up. Dogs need switching. Yeah,
I agree with that as well.
Yeah,
100%. I do agree with that. So probably not a competition dog, but
it's difficult. We had this conversation earlier in the day, and I put in our group saying, like, you compare the Crayford form to the Romford form. A 23.86 dog should not be doing a 23.97 at Romford. There is about 8 lengths difference between the quality of running around Crayford and Romford. And that was a red flag for me to begin with. But that's not knocking the dog. That's just like how
I think we're all guilty of it, but I think it does go down to the old one where your eyes are the best judge, and time a dog can do a certain time, but I think your eyes are the best judge, and you know how deep down, based on how good a judge you are, on how fast a dog has actually ran without having to see a time. And if anyone can find Cooch somewhere, because I think he's
threatened Beachy Head. Yeah. Brisbane were 4-5 on the one there at the off, which is a good piece of laying.
That doesn't make me feel any better, by the way, Tom. Thanks.
No.
But you know what? We're going to get it back here on a big price dog. So Wildcat Tony, I think it is on the Brisbane special as well. The £20 offer.
That's an excellent offer, isn't it? Really.
Yeah,
it is.
Join in, jump on.
The bookies have had 3 beaten tonight, haven't they? They've had Russian Blake 5-6, round about 5-6. Blast Off Mason was beaten at a short price.
Yeah.
Zari Rose went in at a short price, and then that one just been turned over at a short price. So the bookies are in front of them, innit?
Absolutely. Interesting question earlier on breeding, if I can find it. Stephen Potter. Pups need to be bred like wild wolves. Far too many videos of pups being cuddled. Sounds cruel, but they need that hunger, in my opinion, and from what I've seen. So I suppose this is kind of related to how they breed dogs in Ireland, where they're free range effectively, aren't they? They live wild. They go out, chasing things across rivers and live in big open, dogs as far as the eye can see at some of the breeding setups. Whereas in the UK, land is at a premium, isn't it? And it's more sort of pens and galloping, and perhaps don't have that hunger they do of the Irish dogs. Bit of a generalisation.
Well, we have Sean Conway, our kennel, and I think you all know.
I've been to his setup. It is something else.
He is different class.
He owns half of the town that he lives in. He'll drive you 10 miles and there'll be just dogs.
I saw Sean, Ryan, he was trying to rival you for being more pissed.
No, I'm telling you, I've seen Sean drunk, by the way. He is. He couldn't. If I asked him what his name was, he couldn't remember it. I'm telling you. He made me look sober on Derby final night.
I know he did. I saw him on Derby final night because I was talking to Gleeson and Sean was there and he was as drunk could be. It was fun.
Good lad though. What a nice bloke he is. Really, really nice bloke.
Yeah, he's a good lad. Yeah.
He gave me a really good dog at Sheffield Sales a couple of years ago. And I mean, I say good dog. I mean, it was just a great. Started in A10 with Darren. A10 at Hello, but he gave me it literally for pennies. And Darren and Cowan did their usual magic with it, and I think within 12 races he went open at Harlow. But he's just a really, really top man, Sean. Quality breeder, and
he'll do you right. If you sell for a dog, he'll sort you out.
The social media of it, where he drives his
content.
Yeah, it's just brilliant.
We were talking about content earlier about retireds, but his content for pups and inside is phenomenal.
It's brilliant.
It makes you want to have a dog with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it makes you want to send your pups to him. So
you're picking out the colours, aren't you? I've seen his videos, and you send him a message saying, "See that white dog there that's chasing after you? That looks all right."
Dave, get back in queue for that one, but it's only been turned that one.
Nice, it's a great lad. And I tell you what, I seen him at Perry Bar for which competition was it? I'd head for Flash in the final against Candyman.
Birmingham, was it Birmingham Cup?
Yeah, Birmingham Cup. And he was there, and he was enjoying himself. But a lot of the breeders, once they sell you a dog, and you've got the dog, that's the connection finished. But with Sean, he tends to follow the dogs right the way through, gets involved. He was on the podium, and so it's good to see.
My one and only time parading a dog was at Perry Bar. So when I started my business, it was quite quiet. I got a kennel hand license with Carol Wetherill, who had a few dogs with at the time. So I thought it'd be good to go out and do the dogs and all that sort of stuff. So it was a Saturday night in Perry Bar. It was quite late. Got to track quite late. I was there in my black shoes, black trousers, etc., etc. And I think Darren had 3 winners, and we had Inky Holden, which is a dog we owned for the 4th. So I went in and put the coat on and all that. took the dog out, and you're supposed to stop in front of it while they announced the dog didn't know, just kept on walking. got to the end, and the whole time Inky was looking at me just like, who the fuck are you? Just getting really rattled by it, just like, I don't know who you are, you don't normally parade me. So we get to the back of the truck. I've got no idea how to open the boxes, so I kind of have a go, and there's a point where you've taken the lead off and you've got this 40-kilo dog that can run at 35 miles an hour, and you've got to get that into traps it doesn't particularly want to go into. So managed to get it in, didn't manage to lock the back of the traps very well. Someone had to come in and help me, gave me a bollocking, which I understandably deserved. Ran across the track. Inky was so wound up by the fact someone else was parading him, completely missed the kick. I think he was like 5 to 6 favourite or 4 to 5 favourite or something like that, which ruined the 4-time of the evening. Anyway, get back to the pickup, and the dog comes in and he's looking for someone he knows, can't see him, and there's just me, 6'3" of me going after him, and he goes, no fucking thanks, mate, just takes off in the opposite direction. So I go running after him, and I can hear someone shouting at me, after the dog, and what they were saying was, don't go after the dog, so keep running. But I thought they were encouraging me to get after him. How I thought I could outrun a greyhound, I don't know. So we get to about the back to the second bend, and I think he clattered into the rail or something. It was fine. He just stopped by the rail. I grabbed hold of him and walked back, and I just turned around to the stand, and there was about 1,000 people just doubled over, absolutely pissing themselves. And I got back, and Darren said to me, "You are never ever parading a dog for me again."
A brief career then, Tom. A brief career.
Very, very brief. I thought I was going to be an absolute hero. Yeah, first. Yeah, I've got a short price on here. Get him out. 100% record, magic handsies, but didn't quite work out.
Actually, the first ever dog that I paraded, that one as well. Craganock Snow, his name was. That was at Rye House, where with my then wife, she went away on holiday. I'd only just started dating her, and got a kennel license. While she went away on holiday, put the dog in the traps in the sprint at Rye House, and bomb, he went. I thought it was the bee's knees. But that was a plus experience, a bit of the opposite of Tom Francis' experience.
There has to be another side to these things.
Yeah, exactly.
Dylan's enjoyed that. Thank you.
Some good questions going through, isn't there? There's a lot of chatter.
Tom's allergic to dogs. I think dogs are allergic to. Yeah, I am allergic to greyhounds. Absolutely right. I took a dog home as a pet, and lives with my mum now because I couldn't have him.
Tom, stay away from dogs then. Greyhounds in particular.
Yeah.
Just
watch from a distance, Tom. Watch from a distance, son.
This side of the webcam. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Koosh, your question. There's probably not enough hours in this show for me to answer that fully, so I'm reading them all off. So.
I've seen that, and I probably couldn't answer that either. I'd have a list.
Dave, I've got a feeling a couple you might probably top of your list, Dave.
I think I would be the top of quite a few lists, to be fair.
Wow.
Anti and pro racing list, Dave.
Anti, definitely anti, then maybe the odd pro journalist, maybe. just on Twitter.
Promoters.
You've done some good stuff for this sport, though, David. I mean, getting the trial. Was it you that got the trials on video and stuff for the tracks? That was a big move. Very popular with the owners.
Yeah. At the time, I mean, I got all the NTN tracks on board at the time. I think Monmore started first in Romford, and then the other NTN tracks joined and done that, and that was fantastic. Arc kind of did their own thing after that. I was kind of supporting, Josh Seeley. He was involved in that, so I was kind of supporting him at a distance almost. Then Arc got that, and then really Toaster. Just before the Derby, we set up all of Toaster because we wanted to do Toaster slightly different with the trials to show the dogs' names and times, and the results after the races to show the times, which all the other tracks don't do that. There's only Toaster that does that. So we had to go. Well, I had to go in and kind of train the staff how to use the software to do that. But No, it was well received. More than anything, it was for the owners, that were at home during the first lockdown, couldn't get to the track. Your dogs were trialing, so why can't we stream the trials and let people watch them live?
I think you've done more positive for the sport than I think I think you're part of the noisy Twitter brigade, as I say. But actually, the noisy Twitter brigade actually does make noise because I think you do make a lot of changes, or at least put ideas and perceptions into people of power's head. The fact that they call you the noisy Twitter brigade, I think, shows that they are listening and watching. Actually,
yeah. And the thing is, as well, Ryan, is that let's get it right. I mean, David's got a lot of experience, and he's actually putting his money into the sport. He's entitled to have an opinion, but to be fair, let's get it right. It's an educated opinion, and that's what gets me is that sometimes you have to break away from, and that's why I think I've said on a couple of occasions when we've had our shows here. It's like they go down a route, and you think that's not right. What are you doing that for? Why are you doing it that way? Because it's totally wrong, blatantly wrong. Everyone can see it's wrong, and you still do it. So why do it? Why? David will probably know better than me about the Australian model.
And before Dave goes, I'm going to say, I guess that years ago, whatever they got up to was unchallenged because you couldn't really challenge it unless you're on certain forums.
Yeah,
where it's just a bunch of people.
That's a fair point because that is the beauty of Twitter. There can be an evil in Twitter in that there's a lot of negative stuff, but there's actually a lot of positive stuff, and I think probably we wouldn't be here without Twitter.
We wouldn't. No, we wouldn't have as many viewers as we've got either.
And I wouldn't be here without Lorraine Sams.
I think social media has given a lot of people a platform to voice their opinion, but I'm always of the opinion that whatever I say on social media, if people can agree and people can disagree, I would rather people, if they disagree, just say, "Oh, well, I don't agree with that," and then show me a different perspective, and then I might say, "You know what? You're absolutely right there."
Yeah.
Hundreds of times, and I might not be right, you might not be right, but we can have a discussion. There doesn't have to be any fallout. But the one thing that I do in social media is whatever I put on social media is not for my own personal gain. It's for all I care about is the sport and the longevity of the sport, whether that's Australia or the UK.
What a word that is, longevity. Oh, it's beautiful.
I thought you were going for training. I thought you were going for owner's rep, Dave.
That's a poison chalice if ever there was one. I wouldn't do that for $100,000 a year. I don't know.
It was talked about more on the likes of Greyhound, seeing that I wanted to do it. I've never wanted to get anything from the sport. I just enjoy the sport from the days from flapping into now Australia. But I don't want anything from the sport. I just want there to be a sport in years to come. One of my kids in the car the other day said to me on the way home, I said, "What are you going to be when you're older?" And he says, "I'm either going to be an architect or I want to do your job, and I'm going to buy greyhounds and own greyhounds." And I thought at that time, well, even if I complain and do the odd thing on social media, if it does affect change, then it's been worth that little,
I think Paul Carpenter just gave you some words of wisdom as well from experience there.
I think that's the thing, David. I think most people recognise that and that's kind of what I felt maybe when I was on Racing Post TV. In that, if you get, you seem, in my opinion, again, and I'm using the words of John Mullins, I don't blow smoke up anyone's arse, but you know what you're talking about. So when you say something, me personally, I would listen. And you're right at what you said as well, is that sometimes people can offer a different opinion. I've got to tell you, I actually fell into the trap of believing Ian Smythe when he first came on to the scene. The second time, I thought, no, I'm not too sure. And even I got dragged into when he said about Romford not having a license to race on a Boxing Day. I got suckered in as well. And this is what we've got as people and enthusiasts within the sport have got to deal with. And you just think, how has he got onto the board? How is that? Because it is impacting on people that are enthusiasts is negatively. It is. There's no two ways about it. It is, and it's difficult. And I feel your frustration. I know you know what's right, and I know what's right. And yet, what can you do actually to change it? It's really frustrating.
Don't give up. Keep making noise. Keep questioning. Is what I'd say.
Yeah.
That is the most difficult part.
As long as, like David says, you play the straight bat and you feel what your opinions are correct, and you put out facts and opinions that are correct, then you hope that people will listen to you. Yeah,
I think for a guy like,
good shout.
I tell you what, let's get to this race. Come on, trap 2. Early pace always led.
5-1 now.
So our fancy Wildcat Tony, 11-2 Bresbet, 9-2 on the board. There is certainly a bit of value there.
Yeah, and I would save on 4 for our purposes. Tom,
1 and 4. Okay.
2 and 4.
I think
2 and 4. You're right. Sorry.
I think if four just take to trap 4, then I think it's the fastest dog in the race. But I think, like we said, I think 3, like Dave said, 3, 4, 5, 6 could all come together here and cause trouble. And then I think Dave's gone with the 1, and we're hoping that the Wildcat can lead the 1 up and then make all. Hold on, make all.
There must have been a bit of money for 3 here as well, because that's quite short in the market at 3-1.
The 1 was 9-1 when we were talking about it before. 9-1. It's now 11-2.
Yeah, but that's you betting it.
I know. Thanks, PL.
All right, come on, PL. We need a winner here.
We do. Yeah, we do.
We're due one.
Third semi-final of the Coral Maiden. 7th race on the Romford programme here is on the move. And they're away and racing, and 5 gets a bright start. Best of all time has led again and will lead into the turn as he did last week, and down the back straight. It's best of all time with a 2-length lead over Trixie Rapid. Then in behind these comes Luna Jezebel and Wildcat Tony round the last 2 turns, and it's the bright orange jacket of best of all time. The 5 still has the lead. 4 run up the backside of the leader, and 5 has got home all right. Best of all time wins. I think Trixie Rapid maybe just second in front of Luna Jezebel. We couldn't get to the front there, unfortunately, with Wildcat Tony.
Last week.
I can't. The 1 dog has fell asleep in the traps. Like, at this point, it's totally over. There's no chance at all for me.
Yeah, there's no chance
I
of
think
this one, either.
she's probably one of those dogs that David that's got to probably get a break to get in the race. And I personally think she wants further, but it's one of those where you think best of all time. 1 out of track 5 last week, probably on the announced ground. Can't clear. Trixie Rapid went wallop and led, and to be fair, has won reasonably well. I know 4 jumped over the back of 5 coming off the last, but even so, I mean, 1 stayed on late, David, but yeah, the 3 of them have finished clear really.
I'll take that 1. I tried to pick up a big price one and it never worked out.
Well, so did me and Ryan, but that was even worse because we wanted a lead and we didn't even get anywhere near the lead. That was disappointing, I've got to tell you. So
there's a few people picked up on our recent discussion about owners and what we're talking about social media.
Ian Wilburn said poor opinions are from those outside the Super Brigade are ignored and dismissed as being from the left field and detrimental. Can't voice opinions on Twitter anymore. Only so many email addresses you can make. Depends what you're saying.
An interesting comment here from Brian Huff, David. If David doesn't want to be rep, who would he like to see do it?
It's difficult because I think Paul did a fantastic job, by the way. I think fair play to the bloke. He put his head above the parapet when a lot of people, including myself, didn't want to do it. And I publicly said that it wasn't for me. I think he did a fantastic job in the time that he did it. He had his own reasons to step down, and I don't blame him for it. And I was surprised he even lasted as long as he did. But I think he needs a lot of credit for coming out and saying what he said as well, because a lot of us had spoke about it on social media. Paul had came out and basically said, well, yeah, what we've been talking about on social media for a long time is actually what happens. So he needs to, and he probably doesn't talk about it, but he's had a lot of stick about that for coming out and actually saying what had happened in boardrooms and different things. So fair play to Paul, but who would take it now? I don't know. I'm not a big fan. The owners should be selecting who's the owner's rep. I don't know why the GBGB came out and said that they are having a rethink and they're doing some kind of discussions on the board and how and what the process is. It's nothing to do with the GBGB or the other board members. The person who's the owner's rep is elected by the owners. So regardless of who they talk to or what they do on the board, at the end of the day, it's us guys who will actually choose the person who does it. So I wouldn't like to say who I'd choose to do it, but whoever did it at this present moment in time, they need, if it was me or if it was anybody else, I think they would need to speak to the board. They would need to get some kind of something in place to begin with, saying, what is my remit? What can I discuss with people? Can I discuss this on social media? Are my hands tied? Because if your hands are tied, then what's the point in doing it, really?
But that's the thing. Is it just lip service? Is it just a token position for the GBGB to tick boxes which I think they've been guilty of for quite a while now?
I think if you gave all the directors an option, do you want an owner's rep on the board or not? I think the majority would probably say no, because they'd say, "What's the point?" You know what I mean? Like, do they need? Does the sport need owners from their perspective or from promoters' perspective?
But that's what you kind of even mentioned, David, earlier on, that about the GBGB and the allocation of the position. Anyway, I'm not too sure whether they actually deem it that worthy, because if a man like Paul Carpenter goes in there, and he spoke to me, actually, I remember me and Lorraine were in Lifford at the time, and he rung me because he'd seen what I'd posted on Twitter, and that, it's only my opinion, it's only me, it's only same as your opinion. It'd be a what I would consider a decent opinion, but it's only my opinion. But Paul agreed with me what I'd said, and he realised that he was banging his head against a brick wall. He wanted to make a change, but realised that he couldn't. And that's what I'm saying. He's an educated man. He's not stupid. He puts across viable arguments, and yet doesn't get listened to. And you just think, well, what is the point? And everyone at the moment, David, is probably thinking the same. In that, there's comments now about how has Ian Smythe ended up on the board? How is there a relationship between the people that are on the board and the managing director of the GBGB? It's just wrong. It's just totally wrong.
It is wrong, and I've said for a long time it is wrong on social media. But the owner's rep, what I think the GB failed to understand is the owner's rep. If whoever puts their hand in the air and becomes owner's rep, they're kind of thrown to the lions. They go on that board, and they've got however many, say 6,000 owners in the country. They're representing 6,000 owners, and they've got zero power on the board. And they're expected to come back and tell owners, hand on heart, saying, "Oh, everything's fine on the board, and all the changes are in the benefit of owners and the sport." When really they're not. I know I did a Racing Post column and discussed all this about big organisations on the board. You would not get that in Australia. You just don't. The boards there are totally independent, and the person that they answer to is somebody on the government. Yeah. So they have to answer to
like
them.
In Ireland.
Yeah.
Like in Ireland, yeah.
Dave, the issue with that, there's nobody apart from us on shows like this or Twitter. There's nobody questioning or calling them out or asking for proof of these things. So when they say to the benefit of the owners, there's not a single person questioning going, well, prove it.
They are self-elected. They're self-elected.
It's so frustrating, this sport, honestly.
It is. I've banged my head against. Honestly, I get fed up with my own voice. I even get fed up with my own tweets of complaining. But I think if it
me too.
If it makes even the minor changes, then it's been worth the effort. But no doubt about it, the GBGB, including the promoters like Ian Smythe and Rachel Corden and whatnot, they do look at social media. They do watch what people are saying, and it maybe doesn't bring about change, but we do have an impact, social media, and social media can't be controlled. You can't be told, as long as you're asking questions and you're you're backing it up with facts, they can't really come back at you and say, well, you've made that up or made it personal or it's... And that's why they don't like social media.
And whenever we do get to see or read an interview, it's such a PR stunt where it's so filtered down. But then a question's asked to Smythe, say, for example, he gives an answer and there's no follow-up on that answer. So it's just like, okay, the next question. So it's basically listening to Boris Johnson, for example, or politicians.
Exactly.
Like, where you have to take their first answer and there's no follow-up on it.
I think Tom will probably agree. That's why Tom first wanted to do this, because no one really speaks the truth. They say what you want to hear. And that's why I was going to say that earlier on. I didn't say it, but that's why I had a self-imposed sabbatical on Racing Post TV. I was on there twice a week. I was co-presenting, but when they asked me a question and I gave them the answer in that I felt was the right answer, in the break they told me off, and I said, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to say things that you want me to hear, because it's not the truth, and I don't do the untruth. I just want what's right for the sport, not to. Probably you'd say David the Gravy Train. I don't want to be on it. I don't want to be on it. And the thing is that again, and I used this word last week. It's not easy for me to say. Longevity. You used it. I used it last week. It won't last if people keep take from the sport and giving nothing back.
There'll be no sport 10, 15 years. There'll be no sport if it carries on like this.
And anyway, we haven't tipped a winner thinking about taking and giving. We haven't tipped a winner. And who are we expecting to give to our Just Giving page if we don't tip any winners? Because we're trying to raise money.
We're getting to the business end of the card now.
Yeah, well, let's hope that
we've been warming up.
We've gone through pre-season now. Now the season started, hasn't it? So come on.
Because actually, I think we're on zero. No one's given anything to our Just Giving page.
Got the Vase now, haven't we?
Well,
Brosbet tell us that the free bets for those who place a £20 bet in the last race or in their accounts has to be used on tonight's card. So don't forget and let it expire.
I'll be using that now.
I'm liking Cush's comments. I can see what you're writing, Cush.
So Kenny, I'm on my 5th bottle, Kenny, now. Kenny's asked for a pint drink count. So I'm on my 5th bottle. Paul, how many of them Morrison's and Sainsbury's Finest have you consumed?
Right. Well, I've had 4 so far.
It's 8:07. Tremendous early pace.
Dave, what about you?
I'm on my 3rd bottle. Just my 3rd.
Quite quick for you, that, actually.
Just my 3rd.
And I'm most of the way through my 2nd pint.
I always show a bit of early, so it's all right. So as long as I stay, we'll be okay.
Right then, what we're doing here?
I'm just reading through the comments. Ian
Spot on,
Foster,
Paul. You've put the world to rights. Now give us a winner.
Yeah.
All right, so what's
Tipped Elvis. That's true.
Well, I think is this an easy one? Tom, have we done this double for our charity bet?
We have, yes.
So call the Vanny Auntie then.
Call the Vanny Auntie Warzone, Tom.
Auntie,
finding it in the street.
We'll just pop out, get to the front to make call. Ryan, tell me about Call Me Steve.
Call Me Steve. So there's quite an interesting debate regarding Call Me Steve before the competition started. I won't go into that now. I think we've gone into quite a few deep stuff over the last half an hour, making it a bit more lighthearted. But I was so impressed with how this dog ran on and how well it stayed last week. I mean, it went past Vanny Banny and beat that by 2 3/4 lengths last week. If anything, Romford probably not a track that will suit it. If you look at this dog, I think it needs a wider track, more of a gallop. Contents of this race, I just thought Vanny Auntie look. I mean, it is Romford, but I think it looks certain to lead this race. And I think it's going to be an early pace, always led. Nighttime Danny, who, for me, when it won the Coral Champion Stakes final last year, that was probably one of the best runs of the year for me because it beat some lineup. And I think it turned the first
I agree.
Pick. And the pace it shown was unbelievable on that night. So I think it's a toss-up between whatever turns closest out of 1 and 4. I think that they'll make up your 2 qualifiers for this. But for me, I just see Call of Anianti getting out. He's got a lovely draw. I think it's certainly 1 and 2. And I think it'll just be early pace away and gone. And then I think it's you watching the race then between Nighttime Danny and Call Me Steve. Spatter Master actually showed a fair bit of early last week, actually. But the dog running to its 5th year now. So, yeah, I mean, I love the dog to qualify. It's a good dog. It's got its trap. I think the trainer and owner would be delighted with trap 5. But yeah, for me, I think it's just going to be a case of early pace, always led, and then a really exciting race between 1 and 4.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I actually think Call of Aniantis should pop out. In answer to the question that I posed to you with Call Me Steve, I actually saw this dog run really well. I think he was in track 1 at Toaster, and he ran on like a steam train. I said to Lorraine, "This is a ledger dog. This will be a really good ledger dog." I bumped into John Mullins on New Year's Day when your brother Ryan invited us to the box at Toaster. Joe and
Joseph
and John sat with us, and he said, "I'm really excited because his passion is to do what his father did and win the Derby, and he wants to. He would die a happy man if he wins the Derby." He said, "I've got a couple of dogs running tonight," and he thought Call Me Steve was a Derby dog, and I said, "Fair play to you." I said, "Then train him like a Derby dog because I think he wants to go further. If you start banging him over a bit similar to what David said earlier on over longer distances, you might blunt his speed a little bit." And sure enough, all of a sudden I personally think he would be better off winning a Ledger than he would a Derby.
I think we had that with Rangers, to be honest here. I think very similar to Coleco Ranger. Good pace over 4 bends, crying out for a proper 6-bend gallop. And yeah, I think we're going to see plenty of this dog, but over further than 5.75 at Romford.
I thought he ran a monster race last week, by the way. David, what do you think?
Well, obviously we're all on anti here, aren't we? And we know Angela Harrison doesn't bring them down here for fresh air, does she? It's a long old trip down to Romford. I think anti will win, but I like Nighttime Danny. I think he's got a brain. And anybody who watches ground racing for long enough sees a dog with a bit of a brain. My own dog, George, would never come off a rail, which was really his one quirk. He wouldn't go around the outside. But Nighttime Danny last week got in all sorts of problems, but still found a way through. So I did like the way Nighttime Danny went about the race, but I think Kulavanianti will win it. But I don't think Nighttime Danny will be that far away.
No, I agree with you. Yeah,
I like a dog with a bit of a brain, you know.
He has got, and he runs Romford really well, doesn't he? That's the thing. He's a good Romford dog, Nighttime Danny. Although he's got to do it the hard way, as you say, he's picked up good dogs in the past round here, and I just can't see if Kulavanianti leads clear, she'll do a real good run, and I can't see Nighttime Danny picking her up.
I think, if you look at Fall's form, it has got a 4.21 at Toaster, but I think we'd all agree that at Toaster, now and again, dogs just seem to find 3 or 4 lengths out of the traps at Toaster and take a ping break. Whether or not Call Me Steve can replicate that at Romford, who knows? But he hasn't shown the best of early the last 2 races. But if you look at his card at Toaster, 4.21 at Toaster, doing 29.57, for a Jan 20 dog is absolutely flying. So I wouldn't say that 4 can't turn handy here, but I'm just basing on what I've seen last week, and I just think that 3. Yeah, I just think 3's just plotted to lead this race, and yeah, it ran well enough last week in behind Drumduck Bomber to suggest that it will just hang on from the fast finishing 4 and 1.
You are spot on there, Ryan. Again, an excellent assessment in that these last 2 ups, Call Me Steve at Romford, which was a bit of a rush preparation, and when he got knocked out of the blue ribbon at Toaster prior to that, he's missed the break twice.
Yeah,
and then the race before that, he pinged the lids out of a middle box, which again, John said to me at the time on New Year's Day, he thinks that's the making of him being in the middle, because when he was in the track one where I thought, Jesus, this dog stays well, he was on the inside. And of course, like we mentioned earlier, you don't always break from the inside when you're not a natural breaker. But
what did we make of 2's run last week?
Well, we all saw it. He kind of he dipped behind the traps, and I think he got away with it. But it was difficult to say with conviction, he definitely turned his head, but he definitely run the dog off.
The way he caught Edition the week before.
So I think he got away with it. But again, that's another subject. We touched on it last week. Low camera angle. There's loads of obstacles. He went behind the traps, the 400 traps. You couldn't see him. And that gave, in my eyes, the stewards a chance to say, well, we'll bottle it and say he moved off.
So we're giving it the benefit of the doubt, Paul, and mind those splinters. All right, Paul? Say
again?
We'll give it the benefit of the doubt and mind those splinters.
Yeah. No, well...
Sorry, Romford FA Cup. Just quickly butt in. Man About a Dog vlog has Cooler Vanny Auntie. Leighton Davies has Nighttime Danny.
Good
the match bets have been put up by Resbet. It probably is between those two, isn't it?
Yeah, and you've got what you perceive probably in Cooler Vanny Auntie to be a front runner and Nighttime Danny to be a stayer. So ideal match bet. Brilliant initiative.
Eddie Goodall touched on a good point here, saying that this could be a candidate for race of the year. If Auntie leads them, then Danny and Steve turn behind. Then anything could happen.
Sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, Leighton Davis is saying you're forgetting Danny's run last week. I did mention the run last week where he found all sorts of traffic and still managed to win that race. But I just like Nighttime Danny. I think he's got a brain.
Good race. Good race this is.
Yeah.
Top race.
It is.
And it's it's got a good makeup as well, with obviously a couple of early paces, and then in fairness, I think the second and third in the betting are the dogs that were coming from behind. So yeah, I think it's going to be exciting for the whole 575.
For the running bets, I've had 100 on Cooler Vanny Auntie at the 11 to 10 while that was up.
Aye.
Didn't want to interrupt the chat.
No, well done, Tom.
Yeah, we're only in January now.
This will be our first winner, surely. Come on.
Surely.
Imagine how many times this year these dogs are going to compete against each other with six bends. They've got many six-bend competitions this year. These will probably finish different way rounds any other day.
Yeah. All right then. Over to you, Paul.
Last one's gone in then.
Come on, 3 blast down.
First semi-final of the Coral Essex Vase. First 2 qualify for next week's final. We're hoping for 3 here. Cooler Vanny Auntie with a slick start. Air approaches. Gates lift off and racing, and 6 on the outside is Sweet Pear, the first to show. Cooler Vanny Auntie pacing up, though, to drop up and challenge on the inside. Then behind these comes Sparta Master, and the 2 is Lunar Prince. Passing the winning line with a circuit to race, and Cooler Vanny Auntie now has gone on from Sweet Pear. Then in behind these comes Lunar Prince, who's going to try and stay on down the back straight, and Cooler Vanny Auntie into the 5th turn has a length split from Sweet Pear. Now extending away. Cooler Vanny Auntie. Angela Harrison is going to kick clear and come home alone. The 3. Lunar Prince. But it doesn't matter because we've kicked off with a winner, Cooler Vanny Auntie. Surely we can get a little bit now for the Sheffield Retired Greyhound Trust.
First of the double is in. I don't. Your commentaries are so good, Pal. I don't want to oi, but I just couldn't help it there.
I actually feel guilty from oiling over you, by the way, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul was fastidious, wasn't he?
That's a good run.
What did you say, Ryan?
I said I actually feel guilty when I oil over you. It rarely happens, just take it wrong, but when it does, I feel bad for it.
I must admit, do you know what? Where that was the worst of it, where we had the lump, the first ever show, we had the lump on Droopers Edition. There was so many.
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about the lump.
Sorry, yeah.
My missus still hasn't forgiven me. We're supposed to be buying a new sofa.
I think that's a serious contender now, by the way, and especially because I mean I think it's trapped out. Average at best, I'd say there.
All the way at the line.
And in fairness, it's running away, and I mean Swift Pear's no slouch, to be fair, is it?
Brad McNair in Greyhound Star put Auntie up as being the big threat in the competition.
Yeah, and she is, because it's one of those, though. Again, like, we're all enthusiasts. And that's what I mentioned last week. It's that step up from the 4 bends to the 575. Are they going to be suited? the trainers see it. Angela Harrison, David mentioned earlier on, she's come all that way down from the northeast, but you trust that they've got that little bit of an idea of who's going to be suited to what. And Kulavani now has justified the fact that she got held up by a drum do it bomber who we didn't think would lead her, but did. She climbed all over the back of him. She's done what we expected. Fair play to Mark for getting a sweet pair out to actually give us something to think about. But she's done everything right, Kulavani, and done what we thought she would.
The thing is with those guys, the Angela Harrison team, they know how to train a stayer. I remember when we took George up for the the competition up at Sunderland just after he had done the track
Grand Prix.
Yeah, we took him up for the Grand Prix. I spoke to Rab McNair. I said to Rab McNair, well, he said, "Are you taking George up?" I said, "Yeah, we're going to take him up." He said, I wouldn't bother. You won't win." I said, "We just did the track record last week." He said, "You won't win. You will not win." First round, won comfortable enough, and then got to the final, and I think we were 5-6, and we were in trap 1 inside of Kulavani Bani. And he phoned us up on that day and he said, "I guarantee you still won't win." He said, "I take dogs up there all the time, and the Angela Harrison team, they always beat us." And lo and behold, we did get beat. So they certainly know how to train a stayer.
And actually, my pal who had the shares in the Roxham dog, Mark McLaughlin, he actually part owns Kulavani Bunny, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, he knows Jimmy really well because he's up in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Mark, he does Newcastle form, but he's a brilliant judge of a dog. Spotted the dog. I mean, he basically was spotting the dogs, and we've got Roxanne Dream. She won the Ledger. Roxanne Magic. She won all the staying races and the track records for her. And I'm big pals with Mark, and again, fair play with Kulavani Auntie, who obviously he's got connection with Jimmy, but Kulavani Bunny, actually Jimmy and Tommy Camsell owns her in partnership with Mark. So.
Dylan's just put up 34.87. If that's an official time, then considering it didn't really come away as well as it has before, then that is absolutely flying.
But she's always quick. I mean, she's literally an Oaks pitch, isn't she?
Yeah.
So
I will. That was one of the race in the competition, so I can update based on that.
Come on, Tom.
To wander in my spreadsheet. So we have got two who've picked 2 out of 2. Rocco and Kulavani Auntie, which is Sam 123469, and the legend that is Barawati. 34.87 if that was officially the time. If Lemming Devon wins, Barawati, based on his guess, will be the closest with 35.12. We shall see. One more to play.
For those watching, I've had a small bet on Trap 2 at Central Park here. I skimmed through the card, and I just made this one of the better chances at Central Park. So
it's on the drift.
Shock. On the drift, that's 5 seconds since I said that. The dog doesn't know its price.
Very true. Very, very true. It doesn't take much on a quiet, cold night to topple a price at a track.
Absolutely. 34.87 is official, so that's just a frightening run. Really, you'd be looking at 34.70s really off a
frighteningly quick, isn't it?
It is. It'd be interesting to see if Warzone Tom gets off the front.
Let's see how your big fancy fares in 2 then.
Back into Trap 2, so the people have heard. Back into 2-1. There's been more tense over a Central Park race in my life. It's race over.
He's absolutely smashed out. Just has to turn left.
Just turn left. You bottled the bend. Don't bend the bottle the bend.
No.
Get your head down. Get your head down. It's race over.
6 looking very threatening.
Just chop one. Just chop
what a strange race this is.
Chop one.
After you, sir.
This is awful. This is awful. It's Bunno, I think, hasn't it? Has it won? Are we on a winner? We're on a winner. We're 2 from 2. Can we suck off Romford and just get to Central Park?
We on this show, we're now 100% at Central Park. We've never had a losing bet at Central Park.
Or you just missed a tip there.
I know that was the worst wee break I ever had, wasn't it?
Good price as well. See, the more bigger it gets, the more you have on.
Right, look, I'm gonna, because I won on Call of Anianti, I'm definitely gonna put into the crowdfunding. So I'm gonna
Me too
give.
as well. Yeah,
Oh, what a
Giving.
hero.
I would add to that as well, of course.
We have got a Just Giving page up on our Twitter. I think Kenny has control of the login tonight. So if you can retweet that again, Kenny, that would be very much appreciated. We're raising some extra funds if we can for Sheffield RGT, who are Brez Bet's charity partner of choice.
Kush, I apologise for the short notice, by the way, of that. I hope you were able to get some pennies on. And you're spot on, by the way. Yeah, that was really bad after timing.
That's the exact wording.
Yeah, you effing sausage. Yeah.
I'm being threatened over WhatsApp for not reading enough messages out, but it's hard to get a word in edgeways with this panel. Not a bad thing.
I think it's time for Spartan Master to retire.
Possibly, I agree with that.
Can we get it one more win?
That.
Can we get it one more win? Is there another win in it somewhere? I mean, it's entering. I mean, the lineup tonight was just ridiculously good, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
Is there a nice, easy race, steady race, senior race somewhere? Someone put on a senior race for it.
There must be some vets competitions coming up. Surely.
Yeah. Just don't see it in track one.
Don't go there. Don't pick that scalp.
Oh dear.
The comments have cracked me up tonight. I wish I could read more of them, but you've got to draw a line somewhere.
You've got Kush in the comments, so
yeah. I've got to say, I'm impressed a handful of people are watching us on Twitch. If you're watching us on Twitch, you've probably just stumbled across this. So thank you very much for sticking with us. A little bit different to what you'd normally be viewing on there, so that's great.
Yep. Serious dog in the vets. Right, who's in the next? What's the next one? The double, isn't it? No, Call of Annie double, isn't it? The guy asked Call of Annie double. Call of Annie Banner, isn't it?
Should we have a quick chat about the next race? We've been heavy on chat, low on analysis tonight, so we may as well have a talk about this one.
Dave, go on, Dave. Give us your my racing tip.
Sorry,
expert.
I picked up my phone. I picked up my phone and I was just littered with notifications. I have to go through them at some point. No doubt it'll just be abuse from Kush.
If you read his last comment to him, Rich. Oh my days!
I know.
Can you get blocked from Twitch? By the way, can they suspend your account?
I think you can from YouTube. I think you get banned from everything that's Google related at that point. So there'll be no more searching for Kush.
Oh dear!
Yahoo.
Listen, I'm going to go for Kishla and Shakira here. I know we've talked about Kulavani Bani quite a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kulavani Bani just came up and done the same as Kulavani Anti did there. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I was always a big fan of Kishla Shakira. We've competed against the dog quite a few times. And I remember it coming over and it was almost like a wonder dog, wasn't it? I think it rattled about 12 races off the belt. And I was impressed with its run last week. And it seems to have came back to a decent bit of form. I assume last run in November, and I assume the time off was, I don't know, but maybe it had a season. And then she came back out and it won last week. And I think tonight with the rail to help, comes away, it should hold them all at bay and quick and clear because it stays well enough.
She may well have been in season, but I think if you do look at her last 3 runs before the time off, she had lost that yard of early and she wasn't staying as well. So I guess it's either season or the owners in connection have decided, you know what, give this bitch a rest. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a really tough race. I'm going to side with 1, but I think she's going to have to do very well to get a run because I think she could. I think 2 will lead. I think 3 will lead. I think 4 potentially could lead her. I'm hoping that actually she can lead 4, and I think 5 will definitely lead her. So I think she potentially turn in 3rd or 4th here, but I'm just hoping that she can outstay these and turn in a nice posse. Smurf's Machine is the top of the list of dogs I never get right. No matter what I do, if I bet this dog in an A1, I seem to get it beat. If I bet against it against Thorn Falcon, it seems to beat me. So, yeah, it'd be no surprise whatsoever if 6 catches 1, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. 6 is on the top of that list of dogs that I never get right, which is plenty. It's a big list, by the way.
Yeah, I think actually he's one of them. I kept looking at him, Ryan, because when you look at Smurf's Machine in this field, you think he's got to lead these. Surely he was a Derby. He was a Derby dog. He's a Derby dog, a Sussex Cup Stakes dog, and yet I'm not sure he's a Romford dog. He always looked like he was probably a dog better out of 4 than me. Not really a true wide runner, and he definitely cuts the bends here at Romford, and he come up the pipes to qualify, and yet that was on that weirdo ground last week, and me, on that occasion I was a massive fan of Jim Star Elusive. Even when Chris Akers trained him for Mark,
should lead
Charlie.
tonight.
Yeah, I think he'll lead. Yeah, I do think he'll lead. Well, he's really got Cordovani Bunny to lead because she ran against Warzone Tom, who obviously you'd expect him to lead with a quick away, and she definitely ran she was middle to rouse on the poor ground, and she died a million deaths on the running, and that probably wasn't a true run-in. So, but as long as 5 clears 3, I think he'll put himself in with a massive chance. And I've got to tell you, I did the commentary last week, Tom, and you might remember, Kishdawn Shakira was in 4 and she smashed out. And when she turned second, I'd back 5, Jim Star Elusive, and I thought, oh, we're beat because she's bound to outstay him. And she did. But like David, we mentioned earlier on about dogs swapping from middle to rouse at Romford, they don't always start and they get trapped on the inside when they don't probably really want to be in the inside. So it could be a completely different race on the start. I expect Jim Star Elusive to trap. He needs to clear Banny. If he does, I think he's got a massive chance of winning, and I think the form will be reversed. With Kishdawn Shakira.
The 3 and 5 could really pop out together and cause problems for themselves. But Coolavani Bani, I mean, I have picked Kishdawn Shakira, but if Coolavani Bani comes away, she will move to the rail, and if she gets a length or 2 in front of Kishdawn Shakira, she'll come across to the rail and she'll hold the rail as well, and she won't come off it. She might be a bit vulnerable at the end of the race, but Kishdawn Shakira's got to hold the 3 dog for me to the rail, to the turn.
Her vulnerability, I mean, her run last week really, and the run on the 28th of December at Newcastle was confusing because if you look at October, September form last year, and if you go to Monmore in the summer, she was, 37.72 at Monmore is flying. And she, I mean, dogs that do 37.72 don't really get picked up by anything at Romford. And even though she turned second, obviously, by Warzone Tom, I was just amazed that Call Me Steve was able to beat her so comfortably. So, look, I think if she was to lead, and I think it's quite a brave statement, I think if 3 leads and 1 can turn second, my money would be on 1. But I think this is an extremely close. This is a really hot race. So yeah, I think it's something to sit back and enjoy.
Dylan, fuck me, lads! You picked every dog in the race at this stage. That's
not true, Dylan, because I fancied. I went with Jim Star Elusive last week. I think I got beat, and I know he's vulnerable, but I think I got beat in the ground. I think the assessment is spot on from David and from Ryan, because Cordovani Bani is going to die for the rails. She's got the early. I personally think that that they are the runners 1, 3, and 5. Smurf's Machine is a dog that you think, how is he that price on his 4 Ben form? But we're talking Romford here. I think that Jim Star Elusive, if he bangs out and clears Coolavani Bani, she'll just act as the goalkeeper, like Ryan said, because she'll dive across to the rails for Kishdawn Shakira.
Gun to my head, I'm going track 1, Shakira, and Simon Walshy. I have read your comment, and it is one big fucking list. You're right, by the way, mate. Cheers for the confidence boost, pal.
Jim Star Elusive is getting a massive price now. 9-7-2. It's massive.
The thing is with Bunny as well, Bunny might have just needed the run. We said before, 28th of December, and then January the 14th, she might have needed it. So it's not to say she doesn't get the trip, like you alluded to before about Monmouth, Ryan. It's not to say she doesn't get it. Maybe she needed the run, and maybe she'll need it this week as well.
Bresbet have text, they don't fancy the 3. They're more than happy to take a bet on it.
But when you look at that, Tom, you're looking at a dog that got led by a very, very quick dog and the anti-post favourite in Warzone, Tom, and sat on the rails, which was the worst place to be last week.
Doing 35.51 and the 35.17 the week before.
The week before, when she trialled, she did a 35.17. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And has done 28.44 around Newcastle.
Exactly.
She's some bitch, Bunny. She really is.
Bresbet can afford to spread a few quid about. Their 2 biggest anti-post liabilities are out of the Vase, which were Luna and Nighttime Danny.
Going to say now that Bresbet are actually higher now in price than on Betfair as well on the machine. So 5-2. If you fancy 3, get on Bresbet.
That's their opinion.
Don't be arbing, boys. Don't be arbing.
Do not be. Fine. No, absolutely.
But
the only place for hedge is the garden.
The 3 and the 5 are the 2 most likely to lead this race. And if 3 leads 5 and she leads the race, she's putting herself in a massive position, in my opinion.
It's actually great to see
a good front running bitch.
It's actually great to see a firm with an opinion, by the way, not just basing
off
Betfair as well.
Of course it is. Yeah, of course.
Please, if you fancy 3, take advantage of that.
I texted them with a bit of abuse this morning. So when they put the early prices up, there were no obvious risks for me to pile into. And they said he text back and said we'll put them up at what we think are the right prices, but we'll take a bet.
Can't say anything. Look, it's a game of opinions, isn't it? And they've got an opinion. It's for me. Bookmaking is all about gambling is all about their opinion v my opinion, and the best wins. I think it's fair to say bookmaking today is slightly different than that. So yeah, more trading now.
Somebody in the chat did mention the 2 dog as well, the breeding Barcia Bill. There isn't many Barcia Bills around in Ireland or the UK. I think there's maybe 2 litters in total. That stud dog died young in Australia.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be worth an absolute fortune, that bitching too, once it retires.
And Patrick's got a big connection, hasn't he, with Australia, because he's got Kenny the Brute out there as well. He went lame the other day, but Patrick actually has got a group of lads that have got own dogs in Australia, which fair play to him.
I've got a good story about that dog. We'll have to talk about it after this race has been.
Okay, good.
You'll have to remind us. Yeah, we've got some interesting stories about Australia, but that one, Kenny the Brute is a good story.
So here, David, you're Kishlaw and Shakira.
I'm Kishlaw and Shakira here.
Ryan?
I'm Kishlaw and Shakira.
Tom?
I'm Jim Star Elusive.
So am I.
We've got both. I've got 30 on Shakira, 20 on Elusive. This is a Romford FA Cup round as well. Fat Was has Danny, and Billy Brennan has Shakira.
There we go then. The hare runs for the second semi-final of the Coral Essex Vase, and the first 2 qualify. 6pence the journey and away and racing, and 2 Doodling Princess has popped out in front of Call of Annie Banny. Then in behind these comes Kishlaw and Shakira, and trouble at the back there for Smurf's Machine. Full circuit to race, and 2 Doodling Prince for Patrick Janssens has a length lead from 3 Call of Annie Banny snapping at heels. Kishlaw and Shakira looking to stay on down the far side and into the penultimate turn, the 5th bend, and it is now Call of Annie Banny that goes on for Jimmy Wright, looking for the double with Angela Harrison kicking clear. Call of Annie Banny for Tommy Camsell, Mark McLaughlin, and Jimmy Wright will go on to score really nicely from off the pace. She stayed really well, and Bresbet might have actually took a little bit of a hit there.
Well, we discussed every dog in the race, but we certainly discussed that Banny was very much capable of that.
Yeah.
I think definitely came out for the run. Nail on the head.
Did we think that Doodling Princess was going to lead her and she would come off the back?
At one point, I was thinking, why don't we back that based on NI's tip, 16-1? It was stretching away. but very good run from Banny, who can obviously do it both ways.
I
Yeah.
think that and Burafan TV's got the double in, so fair play to you. Well
The
done.
Koulibaly double, of course.
It's a bit disappointed from the 5 dog. I think it missed the break and it never got in the race, did it?
No.
No, I think in fairness, for this level of race, I think it had to lead, didn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, he's all or nothing 575. Yeah, no dangers. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
PM
But,
thought
but
it was
he got well
job done
beat. To
with
be
the
fair,
two.
they both did, didn't they? 5 and 6. Jim Sorelusive and Smurfs Machine got well beat there.
Well, you know what interests me the most about Koulibaly Banny at Romford? Banny's probably been one of the best staying bitches in the country for a very, very long time now. This is the only time it ever came to Romford. It's never been to Romford before this. I don't know why they've just decided to bring it to Romford.
Because of Koulibaly Auntie, probably.
Yeah, though they've made the right decision, haven't they?
Yeah.
On the account, so it's quite strange that they've never went for any other big competition until they're staying trip here.
Yeah, it's a fair shout. What's she? May 18.
I don't think you'll be seeing Smurfs Machine over 6 pens again. To be fair.
Yeah.
No, he's probably not really a Romford dog, Ryan, is he? He doesn't really seem to be suited. And what do you think? You know, how far he went deep in the Toaster Derby? It's chalk and cheese the form, really.
He got to final of the Nottingham Derby as well, did he not?
Yeah.
I'll be very surprised now. I think the closest, the shortest 6 pens probably 6:31 more, isn't it? Which I get. We were similar to Fight the Power, who just got a little bit stuck between distances.
Yeah.
I just think now you'll probably see Smurfs Machine running over 500 metre Toaster, maybe even a really good A1 at Hove on Thursday, Saturday night.
Billy Brennan, Romford FA Cup. Well done, Warren. That's not what we like to see, Billy. You need to be giving your opponents abuse.
Billy, that's the nicest you've ever been, by the way, Billy. Yeah. That's the nicest Billy's ever been, I'm telling you now.
It's probably not him. It could be anyone.
His account has been hacked, by the way.
Bres bet on that winner were 5-2 when it was 2-1 on the exchange. They bet to 104% and were absolutely filled in.
I'm
Tom,
sorry
did you see the message from your man Dave Kay, the odds compiler at Bresbet? His comment was gas oven. Not a good result.
That's proper bookmaking for you.
That's it.
I've spent the last week at work while I've been working and building spreadsheets for these various competitions, watching YouTube documentaries about gambling. There's some good ones out there. The Harry Finley one is just superb. The best of its genre.
It was his 60th birthday yesterday, by the way. He was 60
yesterday. I saw that.
Yeah, and I watched the interview he did with Alex Steven. I saw it when it first came out, and I know Alex really well because I used to work with him at Ladbrokes when I used to do the ground tips at Ladbrokes in their studios in Harrow. And Alex did that interview, and I thought he was superb. He's really good, Alex. I get on with him really well. And then because on YouTube, then they spin you onto something else. And there was one that someone had put up from VHS of when Harry was in the younger days, and it was literally Chris Burt was on there from Hove, and Kelvin Richardson, who I knew really well. He was a big Henlow punter as well, and a big open race punter. He loved his opens, and he sadly died at the back end of last year as well. So it was fantastic. If you love your dog racing and you've got a spare half hour or so, Google Harry Finley, because some of those on YouTube are brilliant. They are brilliant.
Yeah. It just captures a certain era as well.
Yes.
I think it was done late 90s or early 2000s or something, and the world was just so different then to how it is
exactly.
now.
Yeah, it was. You're right, Tom. It was so different. There was no Betfair. There was no exchange.
It was better in a lot of ways. Life was better.
It was 100% better.
It was quite interesting when he was talking about Denman, and he said it was his easiest £33,000 that he ever won. But he did say if it was racing today, it'd have been no price at all. It'd been
exactly. No, he said that quite a lot. And he mentioned as well, and he said this to me. There was a pivotal point where I think it was the likes of Frankel, that era, and Black Caviar when they went from 1 year to being 2 on and being massive value, and then the next they were literally 1 to 5 and 1 to 8 and no value because everyone latched on to the fact, and everyone with Betfair knew the true price rather than being able to pick off the bookmakers in that respect. And obviously now with computerization, that they see you coming, don't they? That's the thing.
Speaking of prices, Warzone Tom was 11 to 10 with BrezBet. It's now even money. So if you want to get on before this touches odds on, I'll get on now because
do you expect it to?
Kula Vanibani has just franked that form, big time.
Yeah.
But even money, it won't go off even money at the odds on this.
I will snaffle £100 at even money for a profit and loss. I'll display it. It's
Tom,
a sea.
have we not got a double, though?
I'll tell you what, it's a sea of red. We have got the double as well. I've not got that on there yet, but I'll.
So what you're doing is you're pressing up.
Oh dear, oh dear. It's okay. It could be worse. It could be worse for that many losses. At least we didn't pile into Logan.
No, that was good.
No, I think even 11 to 10, you can get 11 to 10 BrezBet. Just as we've said that, the push
of 11 to 10.
That's unbelievable. I can't see how this will go off 11 to 10 or even money.
It's one of those dogs, Do you know when I always think he's a certainty, he never quite does it for me, and yet I love him to bits. I think he's a fantastic dog, and obviously the connections.
What do you think his best trip is?
Good question, because when Rab said, he actually said a long while ago he would go for the golden jacket with him. I actually think that's a fantastic trip for him, because I think smashing out and beating up those kind of one pace greyhounds, if you like, is his game.
Match race, Warzone Tom, Antigua Lava, for example, 8 bends. She flew the other day.
No, just a match. What, a 2-dogger?
Yeah, go on, 2-dogger.
Yeah, that's a world of difference, because that's a world of difference. Because Lava, she's quick, but yeah, it's that cool. That's yeah. I'll be getting now splinters, PL splinters. Yeah, no, tricky one.
For me, I think the 6-bend, short 8-bend trip is the strongest we've got in the UK at the moment to standard of dogs. I mean, they're some unbelievable dogs.
Something like a Yarmouth and Ledger dog, I think.
He's a speed dog, really. Do you not think, David? He's a speed dog, isn't he? He's a speed dog.
But once you get he's one of those dogs that he gets off the front, and you've got to try and reel him in, and that's the problem, isn't it? How far do you? Have you got to reel him in?
When he gets it right at the start, he will put in big splits. That's the thing. He'll get in big splits.
Can I give a quick mention, by the way, to 4 Nipsey Hussle here? I'm just going to support the kennel, who is out of the second mating of Holden Spy, won't fall behind. Another really unbelievably good litter. It's the same as Candyman's brother. So I mean, you love to have a litter out of them two, just of them two. Just a really frustrating dog, if I'm being honest. I think we all agree he's got plenty of pace, just can't seem to put 2-3 races together.
Yeah.
And it's in the 35-27 at Romford in September, which shows how fast the dog is. Was really unlucky in the 3 steps final. I thought it was going to win the race, to be honest, until there was a bit of trouble, wasn't there? Reached the Grand Prix final. I think Dave, you were our nemesis, weren't you, for the early parts of the career at Yarmouth and Sunderland? From a kennel perspective, it's a big price, 12-1 for a reason, but for the kennel and for the dog, and like I said, it's a really honest, runs its heart every week dog. I just love to see this dog somehow make the final, but it's a really tough ask.
6 to 5 Warzone Tom, still odds against.
Dave Cares wanting to take this one on.
Warzone Tom on. Are we all in on this? Do we think this is a good thing?
This is the second in our double.
it comes away. It's. I mean, let's look at what could actually pick him up.
6-4. Wow.
Nothing can pick him up. If this leads, nothing's picking him up. I think, like Paul said, it's just one of them dogs. His Crayford form's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah.
11 total on the exchanges, Tom, but 6-4 with Bresbet now.
Crayford and Romford suit this dog because, as Paul alluded to, the dog wants to get off the front, and it's hard to reel it in. And the two tracks that it's hard to reel a dog in is Romford and Crayford because it's such a small track and it's tight. It's hard to reel the dog in and go past it.
So if this was over a normal 4-bend, say, would it lead 1? Over a standard 4-bend trip, would it lead 1?
It's a good chat, all right.
That for me, that is like. I mean, his times are flashy. Well, they're ridiculously, unbelievably quick when he leads. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just.
It's one of those where that's what I say about Warzone Tom. He is reliant on a break. He's not going to miss his break and gush up, is he?
No.
Give Warzone Tom a bleaching. I don't know what a bleaching is. Does anyone know? Does that mean piling or don't?
That means he's striped it. Is that Eddie Goodall?
No, that's Dylan.
Dylan Fitzsimmons.
Well, that's the Eddie Goodall stroke Dylan Fitzsimmons clan, isn't it? The bleaching.
That is a trademark.
That means they've laid him, Tom. That means that when they give him a bleaching, that means that if they win, they're going to limp home severely.
And from knowing them two like I do, when them two lay a dog,
exactly.
Give a bleaching.
They don't lay out for a score, put it that way.
I mean, somebody's wrote their value with the two. The Paul Burke kennel have already had a winner tonight. And Nathan Hunt certainly knows how to train a dog, and in the one dog.
Kennel's flying there.
The one dog is a very, very good dog. Yeah. A 1347 will lead the 2. Should do. Yeah, should lead the 2. And then it's just whether Warzone Tom can cut in front. Dapper Rodney obviously had a good early pace dog inside of it last week. Didn't quite trap out as we thought it would. Someone's put up here. Dapper Rodney was on the terrible inside going last week. Only got picked up on the line. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very true.
It's one of those there where you actually say, has Warzone Tom's leg fall enough?
Are we basing?
How can he be 6-4? Well, he's just gone 11-8, but how can he be 6-4?
Are we basing all the Warzone Tom on just the break? Warzone
1352 last week. I mean, that is a very. It was in the middle. Obviously, it was a bit. The game was a bit better on the outside, but it's still in the middle.
That's because he starts. Yeah, but that's because he starts, and
he's not going to get caught doing a 35-03.
He's not going to miss his break and gush up. So he is one of those where if he doesn't start, he is in trouble. So I understand that, and he can miss it. I know he can miss his break, but by the same token,
I think we're trying our best to find reasons for the dog not to win. I think if he comes away well, then he's got. If he leads, I mean, there was nothing that can catch this dog if it leads. I just think there's a fair bit more early pace in this race than he's been in with at Crayford and at Romford recently. So, yeah, So
we should have run. We should have ran Rab just before. We should have thought about it. I rang Rab and got him on the phone and said, "Rab, what do you think?"
Then he would have said, "Blue Tick George can't win this race."
So Rab did talk about this race in the Greyhound Star this week, and he said the dangers were Drum de Bonner and Antigua Princess.
I was really impressed with Antigua Princess, and the stepping up and the fact that she's kind of quite like the race, and she's with the top trainer. Then you'd have to say she is a runner. But whether she can trap and get round Warzone Tom is a different matter. If
7-4, 7-4.
Wow!
If he starts, he'll lead and win.
Wow.
I don't get why he's so big. But
wow, 7-4.
Should we have more
other than Eddie and Dylan are giving him a bleaching?
7-4. That's. I did not.
Should we have more on at 7-4?
Well, he's 6-4 on the Betfair, and if you can get 7-4. That is a good price. I've backed him, and if he wins, I'll be adding to the the fun. So
Right.
I've messaged Rab. Let's see. We probably won't get a response. Well, we're definitely not going to get a response, but we might get a response afterwards. And if I can read it out, I will read it out.
Either way, I'm getting a drink after this.
okay, so 3 Warzone Tom is the favourite. We need this for the doubles, Tom.
We do. We need it for the dogs.
Third and final semi-final. First 2 qualify. And away and racing, and one's bombed out. Dapper Rodney has got to the front easily from Drum Do It Bomber. And then comes Warzone Tom. Out the second turn, and it's the red. 1 from 2, then comes 3, trying to show middle gears. And Dapper Rodney holds on to the lead here for Nathan Hunt. Goes on, a length clear from Drum Do It Bomber. Then comes Warzone Tom, trying to pick up now, and behind them comes 1 for the Lake. Into the 5th turn, and 1 has extended right away now. Dapper Rodney, 3 lengths clear from Drum Do It Bomber, turning for home. And it is Dapper Rodney that books his place in the final. Drum Do It Bomber is second. And that's how they'll finish. Impressive winner. You've got to say he's done it really well, Dapper Rodney. Really, really well.
He has.
Bombed out.
He has.
I think that was the main worry, wasn't it? Though, in fairness, there's just a bit more early pace in this race than there was last week for Warzone Tom. I'm surprised actually how well 6 ran and how many lengths 6 took out of 3 down the back straight, off between the fourth and 5th bend. But yeah, I mean, fair play to 1. I probably can hear Rob Howe now screaming Romford down for that. I mean, that is some run. That is.
It's one of them dogs. I never get him right, Warzone Tom. I never get him right. Never.
Paul, he's on my list. Don't worry, he's on the list.
Never.
I'm a bit concerned at the reply I'm going to get from Rab now. After he puts the dog back in the van, he's going to read his phone with me asking him, "Is this a good thing, Rab?"
Yeah.
I think the last word in is it'll be a two-word reply, and the last word will be off. So I think you can guess what the first word will be.
So I'm fairly the charity bet has been gubbed, but Brisbane will still be donating £50 to Sheffield RGT.
Well done.
Good.
I mean, for the price of 6, for me, 6 has shown its form that it was showing in the early days at Toaster when it was doing 29.51s. I mean, the pace that's shown from, like I said, down the back straight was really impressive then. So I'll just be keeping an eye on 6, to be honest here, and what Janssen does with that over the next couple of weeks, last months.
And the other thing as well, Ryan, I don't think he's that wide. I think he's more middle than wide.
He looked to go inside down the back straight, to be honest.
I had him even in his previous run. I thought he was more, lane 3 or 4. But I think probably that might suit him better, being seeded middle.
It's another dog I'd add to the list. So, what have we got for the final, by the way? So we've got, was it 1 and 2 that race? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got.
Yeah, someone said if Dapper Rodney draws 1, huge threat in the final. Completely agree.
Well, if he starts like that, Tom, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So we got.
I reckon that was a fast time as well. I don't think Warzone Tom ran bad. He had his heart broken when he ran to the back of the dog round the second bend.
He's just one of those dogs that's really, really better when he turns first or second.
Yeah.
I think that's 5 railers in the final as well now. So the draw's going to be important.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll get the draw tonight.
I'm
guessing.
The kennel on fire. I don't think Warzone Tom likes running too many times at the same track.
Yes, fair comment.
It'd be lovely to have the draw live, wouldn't it? To be fair, it'd be lovely.
Yeah, of course it would.
It would, yeah.
In an ideal world, it'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Just letting the lads have a go after a few Stellas.
I can't stream them live. My in to do all the streaming, I can only really help the likes of Toaster and them tracks now. I think I've done my damage with N10 and Arc that I'm there now. So, but Toaster, definitely I'll be able to do the draws.
Have you got an official ban from N10 tracks?
No.
Okay.
However, I don't think the conversation would ever come up again. I have not personally received an official ban from Arc Tracks, but
you've received a ban
through not a ban, not a ban to attend, but to help them in certain ways with technology. But arc tracks, no, I'm not allowed to help them at all.
You know when you say banned, you just mean that arc tracks don't want any technology anyway, like normal.
I think the arc tracks would and the like GMG, like Swindon and whatnot, were told if David Mitchell offers to help, you don't take his help at all. He's he slags us off too much on social media.
He's got an opinion.
Yeah, well.
But
N10 ones, no, they were all right, to be fair, at first.
I've just had I'm going to get, I say, sickening image in my head. I just read a comment, and Koosh now is underpants are off, and he's going all in on the bubbly dog in the last. So,
blimey.
I hope you can get your pants back on, please, Koosh. Please do, for society.
We're hearing
few more we can't read as well.
Cheers, Koosh.
Nathan's dog. 35-40.
What's that? 35-40.
Yeah, it's a good run.
I'm struggling a little bit to put the comments up. The computer is struggling under the weight of the losses on the spreadsheet, I think.
So if that's done 35-40, I mean, to be fair, how fast has Auntie gone in the first heat? 34.87.
34.87, which is just an obscene run, isn't it?
Right,
should be illegal.
I've heard David Mitchell is persona non grata at N10 tracks. Smite gate. Quite possibly.
Anyone been banned from anywhere really good?
No. I'm surprised Ryan hasn't had a ban from Toaster after his performance at the Derby, but he slid past that one.
Dave, I never showed my face for about 3 months, so if I was banned, I lived there anyway. I kept a very low profile a few weeks after that. Dear me.
35-40 that last winning time. It looked 35 dead to the eye.
Yeah.
The comments on this. Oh dear.
Got a picture.
Yeah.
Again, not the views of Greyhound watch along.
No,
Paul, that is why I've grown the beard, by the way, trying to disguise myself. Kevin people will not recognise me come this year. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So at this point in the night, a bit down, what's the tactic? Do you go for value to get out of trouble, or do you start smashing into shorties?
Depends how strong you fancy him.
Yeah. I think. I don't know. It's a hard one, isn't it? I think if you are losing, I think. I mean, the one thing that I won't be asking Joe, to be honest with you. I've been honest with that. But his advice there, the so-called expert, he will not be getting a text message. I think if you're losing, you've got to give yourself a little bit of budget just to try and get it back, without getting obviously stupid. But you can't settle on a losing night. It's the worst thing in the world. Going to bed
on a losing night.
And you wake up in the morning, and it's the first thing you think of. Oh shit! It's the worst. We've all done it. We all know it. You go to bed in a mood. You wake up thinking, "Oh, it's a lovely day," and then suddenly you think, about 3 seconds into waking up, "Oh shit! I've just lost a fortune last night at Romford." No. We've all done it. Sorry, Paul, what are you going to say, mate?
Doing it at Romford.
I normally ask him to pick them out when I get to this point, and I'm that far down. I just say, "What should I pick?"
George, what do you fancy? Right. George, what do you fancy, son?
You used to be my get-out dog.
No. Do we think there's a go-in? I mean, do we think the inside's running better than the outside here tonight?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not sure.
So is it all-in job
Inconclusive.
on 5 here? Is it an all-in job on 5 here?
See, with me, she's different class of these, and not got a terrible draw because 4 will edge in to lane 2 3/4 I've got, but she probably wants to be in 3 or 4 herself. But I think she'd get away with it. But it's whether she's
Paul,
race fit.
Paul, hold it there quickly. Can you put that back up, Tom? Fucking hell. I just fucking read. Oh, fucking hell,
If
boy.
we get a better tweet than that, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no.
You won't get one, Tom. You won't get one, mate.
It should be 90.
Apologies, Paul.
Yeah,
We're on
you won't
serious
get
Greyhound chat there.
Eddie Goodall, your advice is the most sensible advice there is. If you've done your money, just wipe it up and wait until the next good bet, which I think
Yeah,
we all
yeah.
tell us.
Yeah.
It's just a lot easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
tonight we're trying to raise money
yes,
for the
it's a very good
Sheffield.
cause, isn't it?
I'll just remind you, and I'm not too sure how we're not doing very well actually.
Paul was
I think we've
thinking
got
the place
30
up,
quid.
by the way.
We've got 30 quid so far, so we're not doing that well.
Well, that was the
trying to
charity
raise money.
double. It's gone.
It's terrible. Just like-
But they're still giving the 50 quid. So that's
Yeah,
good.
so we'll get 50 quid from Bresbet. That's good.
And the lucky winner of the 3-2-1 competition, who has their runner in the 912, which is the next race.
So that's the
Give them
last
a
leg,
potential
Tom, yeah?
free bet. It is of the competition.
Craig Grove has just joined the chat as well. He was the deputy racing manager at Hall Green. He is your typical Cockney, I'm going to say, just a loudmouth, basically. What has he put? A Yankee in the last few races. Yeah, you know what? If you are struggling a little bit and there's a few races left, you know what? Just for small stakes, if you want a bit of interest, just do a small Yankee or Trixie. Just don't go with my tips. There you go. He's a big Tottenham fan as well, Craig.
I think less of him after that.
Yeah, so hang on, we were talking about Gilo Gold Dust. So do you? She's much better class. She's had 4 trials now out of lameness since she last run at Perry Bar behind probably one of the best sprinters in the country, Crossfield Dusty. She runs Romford well. She beat Mr. Roo in a 23.90. She's got a great draw. Do you trust that she's fit enough to do herself justice? But one of the things that always worries me as well, and bear with me, and please feel free to comment after. You know, when you get a dog that's so fresh from such a big break since October, they can get a bit excited. It's first day back at school.
Yep.
So you don't always time the break properly. But, you know, all things being equal, if she starts, she'll lead and win.
One can run. Like if you look at one's form at Harlow, I mean Harlow A4, we all know that's the top grade then. Harlow A4 Wednesday night. I mean Harlow graded dogs sweep up them opens every single Wednesday against the Romford.
Switching from Harlow to Romford used to be the big thing, didn't it, as well?
It did. But I mean she's beat some. I mean she's a bitch out of Lemon Bowling. He was actually one of Darren's dogs. Darren's bitches he trained. Who, I mean, she went to really early. So I think she flew through the grades at Henley. I think she started in A10 and like won A4 in about 27.60 or whatever it was. And then they only started to start mating them really early. But I mean, one can run. I mean, one's beat the likes of Goldie's Jennings, Droopy's Flight on the 3rd of December. The only thing with 5 is, and like I said, Paul, will 5, and this is no disrespect to the other dogs, will ever find itself in an easier race than this, which would be classed as probably a really good A1 at Romford race.
I think I can see where you're coming from. I can see exactly where you're coming from, but there's question marks about Gilo Gold Dust. I mean, it's easy saying would it find an easier race, but that's looking at it as if it's performing at that level. Where it's coming back, it's kind of difficult to say, isn't it? There's enough question marks to think, yeah, potentially after the race we'll say, well, obviously that should have won. It should win, but coming back after so long off,
yeah,
that's why it's 11-10.
For me,
bang on Sonia at 16-1 with a 375 last week, 24.08.
Yeah.
That's a very, very big price.
How many times did it do that, Tom?
None. One.
One. Were you on, by the way, for that?
No, but
no.
I get your point. Capable. That's the thing, and everything's got its price. And It's a bit like with Lemon Devon. Look back through the form, and you said about A4 Harlow, but actually over track and trip, 24:15.
Yeah,
Fine.
379,
banging,
378.
banging out and beating Goldie's Jennings, by the way.
It's gonna lead up the two.
Not terrible, is it?
I think this was some monster prices as well earlier. One, I think I've seen something like 6-1 about with Lamberts and Corals. So yeah, I mean, if you fancy one, I hope you've got them prices.
Do you want to put the prices up? What are Bresbet doing here? Are they wanting to take this on again, like they just took Was on Tom on? Quite interesting to see if they're wanting to take this on.
Yeah,
6-5. So no, probably then.
they're following the rest of the market on it.
Dave Kay's probably just listened to what we said, and this is probably going to change and go further out now. But it'd be interesting to see if they try and take this on as much as the last race.
But surely the Bresbet with the Gilo syndicate, they don't really want to lay it, do they?
Absolutely, the boss's dog.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
that is true.
If this suddenly goes 2-1, you know it's not going to win. So
5-4.
5-4. They're keeping it on side, aren't they?
I've just got a feeling this is going to be one of them where if she comes out and wins, you think, why haven't I lumped
Why
on
haven't
that?
I?
Because
Yeah.
I generally think if you run this race in 2 weeks' time, she's probably 1-2. Short as that, I'd say.
4 experts in the game, probably account closed. Yeah.
I mean, this is the bitch that's only got a length to Bucco's John Joe, like doing 366 splits last year. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm thinking the one. I think can take a chance on the one at the price.
Dylan just said a few times 5 ranch. I think she's been dossing a small bit every week. If she banged out, it'd be lights out, which is probably right. It's one of those where you kind of overcomplicate it and you think, well, hang on, she's been off that while, but she's quality, she's class. And at the end of the day, you're talking about Lemming Devon, who's running probably a D1 stroke A4, which might be an A1, but it's still only a top grade. It's not open class. Gilo Gold Dust has been running against Crossfield Dusty and Shrew Call and top quality sprinters, end of. And she runs Romford.
It's quite interesting looking at Gilo.
I'm backing her.
Gilo Gold Dusty's overall form at Romford. It's ran here 10 times, won 6, but every other time it's finished second by either a short head or a length. So it's really difficult, isn't it? The dog clearly loves the place as well.
I'll back 5, and I've done 1 as a place saver, so just in case. Just out of principle, if 5 wins this, and I haven't bet it in this race, I'm just going to be kicking myself all night first of the week. So just out of principle, to be honest here.
Yeah, I've had to bet 5, and I know she's had a big layoff, but I think she's different class.
That's the match bet as well. You said that, didn't you?
Right, 11-8. We're going in.
What do you fancy, Dave? Here, by the way,
I think the 5 will be too good for them, but 11-8 Bresbet's a great price if you really, really fancy the 5.
Yeah. Great, right. Come on then, Paul.
They're all locked and loaded. This is the will we walk or will we ride stakes. I think this one. The Johnny Oz octogenarian guineas. It is. Hair approaches. And away and racing, and Gilo Gold Dust has trapped smartly and will try and lead into the turn. The cameraman's had a nightmare, but it is now. Bang on Sonia's dropped up on the inside of Gilo Gold Dust and gone on, and Bang on Sonia. Last week, a really impressive winner has gone on by 3 lengths. So won't be really in this one in. Bang on Sonia for Nathan Hunt has a big, big lead and goes on to score emphatically from 4. Firepaper who got up for second. Unfortunately, Gilo Gold Dust didn't do it for the boys.
Tom, please don't say anything.
Nathan Hunt again.
Yeah.
Did you
14-1. 14-1.
Gold Dust was not messing around, but very tetchy in the boxes. Not to see she was bouncing around, and
That was what Paul said the danger was.
I mean, unfortunately, we have no idea what happened. So.
Yeah, the painful part of it was going past the winning line. You think that's Andy because she's going to lead here, and then got to the first bench. She never.
I think the 3 dogs just held its ground and just
Yeah.
unbalanced the 5 dog.
Yeah, I think you're right.
A length or 2.
Yeah. Oh, that's painful. That was.
It was.
That was painful.
But you know what? You go again, don't you?
We
That's
go
what we
again.
can do.
You have to go. You just go again. You have to go again, don't you?
We've got the nap of the night now.
You've got,
It's got to have to be the nap of the night.
If you need something to
fucking,
get out of jail,
fucking
yeah.
addiction again, isn't it?
It's going to have to be to get out.
Oh dear.
We'll have to try and buy addiction. We'll get it right one week.
We'll get it right. Dave, have you got anything, by the way, for the derby? Yes, have you got anything?
I've got Headford Flash, but I don't think we'll go derby route.
Mum.
We're going winter derby with Flash.
Mum wants to suit it to a T, by the way, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah. He's had a trial. He came back nice. He had a trial at he did a sprint at Toaster and broke 16. So he's flying. He's in good form. I think he'll be a better dog now than he was last year. I think he came over and he's like 38, 39 kilo, but he was a big pup. He was still a pup when, he ran in the Birmingham Cup and he got to the final of the one at Sheffield as well. So I think this year he'll be a much better dog, and he seems to have came back nice enough, but I think a true 500 meters round Toaster might just stretch his stamina a bit too much. He is quality, like, but he's one of those dogs that if you take him fresh to a track, as soon as you put him in, he'll bang out the lids. And we've kind of only just picked up on this now, that we need to keep his mind fresh. So running him at the same place constantly, he's trapping just goes. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get him there, get him out, and then maybe take him for a trial somewhere else and bring him back so he's kind of fresh every time. But he's work in progress. He's a nice dog, but other than that, for the derby, no, I won't have one this year.
Okay, Paul.
Nah. My delving into big race pots now is kind of I'm into S3s at Crayford now.
Nothing wrong with them though, Paul. Nothing wrong with them. How about you, Tom? Oh, his voice. You've gone
mute.
Mute.
You're on mute.
Unmute, Tom.
Sorry, I was in my spreadsheet. Ownership-wise, are we talking?
Yeah.
No. The only decent dog I've got is Corten Steel, and he doesn't run any further than 400 meters. So, unfortunately, not. It's got very, very expensive to own dogs. The dogs you'd pay $4, $5, $6 grand for are 10 grand plus now.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. You need the big syndicates really to.
There's 4 of us that bought into Flash, and he's turned out nice, but fully understand that single owners, unless you've got a lot of money, then it's quite difficult. I've got one starting out first race on Monday that might be worth looking at. Blue Tick Olivia. We bought her with the thought process that we were going to breed from her with George, and she's from the Coolavani Pearl Dam line out of Droopy's Buick. Her original name was Springfield B. She had 5 races in Ireland. She won her last race, and she's been dropped in an A3 at Central Park. She lacks a bit of early pace, and she'll stay. Eventually, she'll stay true 6 bends, but she could be nice. And we think that she'll go well on Monday.
Very good.
Where's that?
Central Park, Blue Tick Olivia.
A3, Dave.
A3, starting out in
Right,
A3.
Ryan, before I go for a comfort break,
Yeah.
we're not betting anything at Central Park, are we?
I've had a small play on track 1.
No.
Who I'm afraid
Who's just absolutely shit
out. The
out.
boxes and left,
make the bend. No, that's his bottom of the bend. Didn't make the bend very well. But I'm talking small, so don't worry about it. That is why I never said it, by the way, just for that reason. Although,
I'm
no,
going to go and get a Marks and Spencer's premium lager. All right.
You don't deserve it, Paul, but you go for it. you get on that Morrison shit. We have a winner of our competition. Very exciting. Sam Gill, very well done.
Sam Marden.
You picked the same dogs as Watty, but you've got your weightings better. So you are the standalone winner at the top. You have won a £50 free bet with Bresbet that will be credited to your account before 10 a.m. tomorrow. I will pass your details on. I think it has to be used this weekend, but very well done. From what looked like 3 very easy winnable races for everyone, I thought I'd absolutely messed it up in choosing those races. There's not been an awful lot of winners.
And Dave, I think the main question, Kush has asked it, and it's all what we want to know now. Are we betting it on Monday?
Well,
betting Olivia?
I'm not really as much as you guys in terms of the form. She lacks early pace. She's had 3 trials, right? And her first trial, she did 30.68. Then she did 30.33. And then she did 29.72. So
is she a 29.20 dog bitch then? Running A3. Are we on?
Potentially she is, but she's a 6-bend dog. You know, she's one for. We only bought her because we wanted to breed from her, but she's nice. She'll be better in time over a staying trip. Would I bet her? I think I probably would have a little bet on her because I think she'd be a nice price. But
I'd want to be emigrated, leaving Carlisle very quick.
Just announce the winner of the comp.
Simon, I actually agree with you. I am a big layer of Droopy's edition here. I actually think 3 is massive at the moment, but yeah, I'll be looking. Droopy edition's 5 to 4 at the moment, so yeah,
go for a toilet break.
It's a brave man for edition. The lads on the chat, they do not want edition. They want to get it beat.
Ben, no trainers stop their dogs, Ben. Come on now, Ben. You know better than that. Yeah, and I agree with you, Paul, actually. I think Romford should be looking for a new cameraman after that race because I still don't know how Gold just didn't make the bend, by the way. And Paul, by the way, you did very well there to save that commentary.
Yeah. Great. We haven't said it this week. The camera angle is shocking at Romford. You're on mute, Paul. And in this sorting, it's rubbish. You can't see which dog's passing the line.
You know one thing I've noticed as well, Tom? You know one thing I've noticed as well, Tom, when you're watching Paul, you're on mute, I think. But why have they stopped showing the replay, showing the races to the pickup? Because there's a lot of tracks now where dogs go past the line and they zoom out of focus, and then they may give you the last second.
Yeah, some of the camera. Yeah,
why are they doing that?
I think it's all to do with fucking the punter, basically. Yeah.
I mean, the camera would be better being on the far side. They'd be better putting it in the car park.
I think it was to do with COVID and people being close at the drop and not giving anyone a chance to say, "Oh, look, they're close" and all that for criticism. But like even recently, more recently, I've noticed even at Crayford, the camera work is awful. It's just they've obviously got a new cameraman. He's awful. Basically, he's awful.
Paul, he's shite at his job.
And that weren't too clever there. And the camera angle at Romford is shite, and we all know it's shite. But he would have you believe your man.
That they can't put a higher camera in.
They've all done the tests, and it wasn't. And
there will not be a single person out there who likes the camera angle at Romford. No. Not a single person.
I heard you saying the word shite. Are we talking about Ian Smythe?
Yes. Correct.
How did you know?
That's the correct answer, David Mitchell.
I'm on my 4th bottle now, you can tell.
That's not enough. You've got to be on
Here
the
he goes.
right?
Dave's out. Personality's let out the bag now.
No.
Just on about camera angles, Dave, and how they stopped showing the camera to the pickup now. They've got a tendency to zoom out. So that when you try and look at a dog if it stays or not, when it gets stepped up in trip, you can't tell based on anything you've seen, what just past the line. And basically, Tom is not a fan of the Romford camera angle. He thinks that you better film it in a toilet, to be honest, dear. So yeah,
it's I can't. All this is about camera angles. It was really important for us, especially with George, because watching him go to the pickup over 4 bends, you could tell straight away. And I think it's really important that we do go to the pickup and you see how a dog's going to the pickup. The camera angles at most tracks are pretty shite.
The pickup someone's put on here, it's because they want to show the clock. They now do it in Ireland.
I mean, can you just show the clock after they've gone to the pickup? Is that too much to ask?
Why don't?
Well, that's what they do in Ireland, isn't it? They follow it around and then they come back in and show the clock afterwards.
I think we all know it's to do with punting, it's to do with punting basically, and to stop people having an advantage, I guess.
I don't know if it even is. I mean, you can't get on enough anyway. It's difficult enough to get a bet on to get that edge. I think they just it works. It shows.
What I don't understand why they're not showing the pickup. Is it? I don't. What would be the reason not to show? I
think originally, David, it was COVID. I think I do believe that that
they didn't want to show
close together, so don't give anyone an opportunity to say, "Oh, look what they're doing."
I
do believe that. I do believe that. But now,
so similar to how the likes of some tracks didn't run on weekends or evenings because of COVID, and then they now don't run on weekends or evenings anyway.
It's all habit forming. It's all traits and
for example.
We think it's more to do with COVID than any kind of political wanting to not get an advantage.
Originally it was, David, but whether it is now, I don't know.
You don't know. You just don't know.
Do they still do the staggered starts of chopping the dogs? Is that still a thing? Where it's 3-3 or 2-2-2?
There's not the 2 meter rule anymore, so they wouldn't need to.
I think they still do it. But I'm massively against it. I'm massively against it since I'd seen the Derby final. I thought it was an absolute disgrace, the Derby final, and I felt it for the lad.
Salford
Jet. I mean, that dog was in that trap for far too long. I was speaking to Rab after that, and he said if it was him, I'd have just pulled the dog out. Just went over, took the dog out of the trap. So I thought it was a disgrace, that. So I'm not a fan of all this staggering and keeping them in for too long. Or if they do want to stagger them, there's somebody there who's actually saying, come on, get on with the job.
Get your dog in,
Yeah. The mess around.
Yeah.
What we on here, by the way, lads? Tips?
3. This is it, the get out stake.
This is the get out.
This is the get out.
I agree.
We need to have a go here, I think.
Paul, I will answer your question, by the way, just after this race, because I've probably got something to say actually about Toaster.
Me?
No, Paul Winger's.
Paul Winger,
and I have
Paul
got
dogs with Lorraine, by the way.
I've got a little bit of news about Toaster as well, which is quite exciting. So.
Another good comment from Keith. I think we can put that one up. Should do away with cameras. Fucking camera angle outside Villa Park got me a fucking 12-month lay down.
Yeah. Was he fainting?
He could well have been.
One is much shorter than I thought she would be here. By the way,
Glass Abbey.
Yeah.
I think Patrick did say before when she was running at Hove that he did think that she'd suit the 6 Ben at Romford. So, and she completely missed it last week. She fluffed the lines completely.
She did. She's got fair troll on the card, 24-3 to be fair.
I've laid 2, so I'm really hoping 2 doesn't blast out. To be honest, dear.
Okay, here we go then. Actually, I really need 3. And we're away and racing, and one has bombed out on the outside. Here's Iams Alexi trying to get there, but it's Gary Glass Abbey on the inner that's gone on. Iams Alexi on the outside then is Underground Aero, passing the judge with a full circuit to race and 1. Gary Glass Abbey has shot 2 lengths clear from the grader. Underground Aero, who's trying to make a race of it. Big gap back then to I Am Alexi as they come around the last 2 turns. Gary Garce Abbey has a 2-length lead. Now that's only a length because Underground Aero is trying to stay on. I Am Alexi also likewise up towards the line. Close. That's
think held on.
Three. I
think
think three.
I think
Abby
Abby's held
and
on.
Lexi.
Paul, I think we're out.
believe.
Paul, I think we're out of jail.
I think we're out of shit if that's the case.
I've laid 2.
God.
I've won off 2, but I think
This
we're out of
is
jail.
really
Paul.
close. This
Anyway.
is definitely bus fare home or walking.
It's either kebab or hunger.
Yes.
I think three's got up. I've got.
It's a hell of a run if it has from there at
Unbelievable,
Romford over that.
You know what? I think this is more comfortable than we think. I think three's
Ryan,
won.
I expected it to lead, not coming off the pace, by the way.
That is some run to do that from where she is there down the back.
Yeah. That's what.
I mean, I'm going to say
6
even
lengths.
if you got beat, it's some run, but I prefer you to say, oh, yes, she's got up from there.
I think she's got up. Lads, I think she's got up.
You think?
I think, yeah. You know what? I know. You know what? I'm going to go out there.
You know,
She's won.
wow, that is.
That's a big
Lads,
show.
just watch. Honestly, just watch. She's won.
I'm going to the sofa of shame if that's not one. Then you've got my hopes up.
I mean, she went
No,
straight
I don't
past
think
last
it has. I
night.
think the ones.
She's won.
What?
She's won.
Where is the line?
Oh, that's
No,
Yeah.
the one.
Oh!
She ain't won. She ain't won. She hasn't won.
Lorraine says one's won it.
One's won.
Has it?
Oh, no. I'm gutted.
Has it?
Oh, I feel gutted. Simon, I'm with you. Lexi's won. I don't know.
I don't know. It's really hard because the angle would favour
that's past
the
the line,
one,
mate.
wouldn't it?
Oh, my days. What a mare.
Oh.
I've had a nightmare.
One's won.
You know that camera angle we were talking about just before the race? He's absolutely killed us here.
I've had a nightmare.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
That's painful.
speechless.
Tom, it's not the last race, but nearer the last race again. This is getting a bit of a recurring theme, isn't it?
We've had
Ray
one winner
Bourne-
tonight.
What's Ray Bourne betting?
I
Can we
actually
find
went-
out?
Ray Bourne will
in
tell you
there.
the winners after this, in fairness to him. Although, don't want to say it, actually, I've got a lot of time for Ray, in fairness to him.
Yeah,
he is actually he's a good friend of mine with Greyhound Racing.
No, I texted
who gets
Ray
a lot of
earlier on,
stick.
'cause I've not-
Gets a lot of stick, Ray.
You know, I've not heard from him for a long while. I actually texted him tonight because I knew he was on
Yeah,
here.
I've got a lot of time for Ray. Fairness, loves
Yeah.
his dog, absolutely, and he's always good company when you're with him as well at tracks. So,
Yeah.
can't fault
I
him.
met his missus at Nathan's Kennels a few months back. Really, really nice. Very welcoming. Very down to earth.
I knew Ray. Tom, I knew Ray from when I was at Rye House. I was assistant race manager at Rye House. And I knew Ray then because he was part of the book at Rye House. And that's where I think probably where he met his missus. His missus, she's called Ray as well, RAE. So I've known Ray for years. As I say, I did text him earlier on. That was
Well, we're
painful.
coming to the end of the night. There's a lot of things I want to discuss tonight. We've not got around to, which shows what a busy night it's been. We'll have to get Ryan and David on again for another night.
Been great guess. Great guess.
It's flown by tonight.
So
despite the lack of readies.
have you got any particular thing you want to get in subject you want to get out, Tom?
I would like to learn more about Australia.
Right.
How
Yeah.
how do you buy a dog in Australia? Do they cost more money? What's different?
The currency exchange, you get basically twice as much for your pound.
Really?
Yeah. a top dog here, say you go and say a top dog here is about £20,000, for instance.
Mhm.
You'll probably pay $30,000 for a nice pup, I'm talking about. So you are paying maybe that little bit more, but you get the prize. The prize money is just phenomenal. You don't pay any kennel bills. So that's the first thing. So what people don't realise is if you buy a £20,000 dog, an open racer, then you've got the kennel bills on top of that for the next 2 years. I think on Twitter the last few weeks, everybody's been talking about the Wolverine Syndicate, which documents how much kennel fees are over a 2-year period. So you've not got the kennel fees to pay because you're 50-50 with the trainer in Australia. So the price of the dog isn't much different, and you get 50-50. So basically, from the dogs that we've bought, Blue Tick Fern, we bought One Night Only, and we bought Captain Dynamite. Out of those 3 dogs, on their winnings has allowed us to buy a further 3 dogs and have enough money to also breed a litter from Blue Tick Fern.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't spent any more money other than what we've spent for the initial outlay.
Kind of reinvested.
Yeah, we just reinvested it, which we always said. You've got to remember, when we first bought dogs in Australia, we were kind of the first to do it. Not the first to have dogs in Australia from a UK or Ireland point of view, but we were the first to buy dogs there. They still don't recognise overseas owners. So we had to have some concessions with them and basically say, we had to have some concessions and basically say to them, look, we're not just wanting to buy dogs to win your prize money to take back to England. We will reinvest in sport, which we have done. So we've left all our money there and we just reinvest it, and we're just kind of trying to build something there. But in terms of buying dogs and the prize money is crazy. I mean, we bought One Night Only, and I think we paid $18,000, so about £9,000. And he made us $60,000 in his career. Captain Dynamite was more expensive. We bought 50% of Captain Dynamite, and he cost us $18,000 for 50%. But bear in mind, the times he was producing were like Fernando Bale pup times, crazy times. He didn't reach his full potential due to injury. So
yeah, kind of fragile, Davey, wasn't he? Really?
But he was a monster.
Yeah, he was absolutely, yeah.
So we did pay good money for him. And then we had Blue Tick Fern, and you've all seen her as a sprinter. She was picking up $5,000 every week. And the one thing that they do in Australia, they don't let the grass grow under the feet. They're on them all the time. Every 3 days, they're either galloping or racing. So you'll have a race, 3 days later, they're galloping, 3 days later, the race, and they really do. But if a dog gets, after the race, all the dogs get checked over, it's then the vet that says at that point, we'll do a stand down period. So a lot of our dogs, say if they've had a little nick or they've maybe had a limp or a toe or anything like that, or the webbing, the split, they'll say, it's a 7-day stand out period, or a 10-day, or in worst case scenarios, 30-day. So it's the vets that actually control how often the dogs run rather than the trainers just keep running them. But it's been unbelievable for us in Australia. And I was going to talk earlier about the dog that Patrick Janssens and Andy Pelly and a few other lads, they bought out in Australia. So Andy Pelly said to me, is there any dogs available like with Kel, who I've got our dogs with? So I contacted Kel, and a lot of the time you can contact Kel about 20 times in the 6-month period and he'll have nothing. You just have to catch him at the right point where there's a nice dog there. And funny enough, I caught him at the right point and I said, look, these guys are looking for a dog. And he said, well, I've got a dog. I know we had been asking at the same time for a dog. And he said, do you want this dog? And we were like, well, how good is he? And he said, he's similar to One Night Only. And I said, well, let those lads have that dog. It'll start them off in Australia and they'll get that journey. I didn't realise that dog was then going to, I think it finished second in a Group 1 final in Australia worth $150,000. But they've had a lot of success with that dog. And I think they paid similar money to what we did. And they've probably got a nice little nest egg set over there in Australia.
Yeah, and a lot of fun in between.
Oh, they've well, I mean, the first dog they've won, I think they've been to 2 Group 1 finals and a Group 3 final, which, and I think one of them was $300,000, one was $150,000. They've probably won more with that one dog in Australia than, other than a Derby winner, than any dog they've had in the UK. Yeah. But I was happy for them. I said to them, it's fantastic, well done, great. And I think they're probably going to reinvest and buy another dog.
Yeah.
Lads, just a quick one. I know Paul Wing asked me about my opinions on Toaster. Just a bit of news, really. My dad has just become, he's about to become the general manager at Toaster. I think there's a few people that know that. We've been having a few chats with Kevin and stuff like that, and Nathan, and my dad's been given the general manager job, so he starts in February. As what I know, I hope will be good news, because we're a massive dog family, as you all know. So we're really hoping that we can continue Toaster's journey of being the premier track in the country. So I know that a lot of people have opinions on Toaster, good and bad. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's fantastic news, and I'm sure for the whole sport, it's fantastic news as well that hopefully that we can be a part of helping Toaster become the best track in the country. So any opinions, any questions, any advice or anything like that, just give me a message on Twitter, one number, whatever, honestly. And then we're more than open then to have them discussions and just to make sure that Toaster does become the leading track in the country on and off the track.
Fantastic.
That's good, and that's what you need, people to listen. A lot of people have some quite strong opinions on Toaster, and I think there's quite a few of us who agree there are things that could certainly be a lot better at Toaster, and it's not going to take too much to address them. So that's really good. You've got someone who's open to looking at that.
I think the foundations are there in Toaster, set in place for Toaster. You can tell what you like about the track. The only thing I will say about the track, I find it hard to pick winners at Toaster, but if you look at all the competitions, the best dogs do qualify still, no matter if they're rail, middle, wide. So yes, it's hard to pick winners at times, but the Derby final, really, there were 6 top quality dogs. The Blue Ribbon semi-finals, a quality dogs, a quality Greyhounds in there. So yes, I mean.
So my question then: can we have Shelbourne Park picked up and dropped on Toaster with the various distances, the various winning lines, the same banking and gradient of the bends? Why can't we have that in this country?
I think there's a way that you could. In fact, I think Coventry was probably the closest in terms of track to that. I don't see why, for me, in terms of just going off topic, I think Central Park 500 metres is a completely underused trip. I really don't understand why it's so underused. But I think Coventry was probably the closest thing to that. Toaster, I think it's quite tricky to pass at the bends, if I'm being honest. I think if you look at how the bends are designed, I think it is tough to pass there. But yeah, I mean, look, I can only say so much at the moment. But for me, it's just about when people arrive at Toaster, they want to come back. And owners, and the most important thing is owners feeling valued. Yeah. And for me, if you can get owners on board, they will support the competitions, which Toaster, if credit to them, keep on hosting these top opens every single Sunday. So for me, it's just about making sure that when people come to Toaster, they get a good feeling and they want to come back. And then I guess in terms of the track and stuff like that, then there can be conversations down the line. But yeah, I just thought I'd announce that. Yeah, so hopefully now you're happy behind the Toaster management.
Does that mean you're immune now to getting yourself a little ban from Toaster because your performance last? Is that your immunity now?
Coincidentally, I did have a year ban, but that for whatever reason has been voided now as of February. So I'm allowed back in now. I don't know why, but apparently who you know does help. By the way, my nap of the night is track 1 here. It was my nap anyway. I'm happy with the price it is now. 6 would be a danger.
I've gone for a small bet on 6 at 7-1 as the get out of trouble.
Yeah, I know that Kushi is big on 3. I'm just hoping that 1. I think it's Hove 7. It's Hove 740 form. Can hold up at 750 Romford. But yeah, there are. I mean, 6 is as fast as it wants to be. Personally, I think 1 though does have to lead. So 1 doesn't lead, it probably won't win. But yeah, so my nap of the night is track 1 for whatever that means to you.
I've told you in.
Yeah, you remember me. Good. Are we walking home or are we getting a limousine home, Paul?
Oh, Jesus.
Let's just lead. Lead.
I've got to tell you, I've been working for nothing tonight. I know that
much. Dave, what you want?
It seems tonight Kush knows more than me. So what's Kush going for? He's going for the 3.
He's big on 3. He's threatening to burn his own house down if it doesn't win.
Kush is coming naked and bet 3. So
right, go on.
Yeah, I'll go with the 3 though. I'll go with the 3 though. Come on, Kush.
We're off from racing, and we've got 2 circuits at the track, and 5 has bombed out the boxes. Nola's Marble has led round here. From 4, Slippy Mick, and then in behind these comes Slippy Eva into the 3rd turn, and the orange of 5 is Nola's Marvel with a 2-length split. Back to Slippy Mick, Big gap back then to Slippy Eva. Not too many got into this contest. And as they cross the winning line, they're going to do it all again. And it is the 5 that's well clear now. Nola's Marvel for Michelle Brown has a 4-length lead. Here comes Slippy Eva trying to show her class now, trying to work into the contest. The writing's on the wall, surely, as they come up the last bend. Slippy Eva slips up on the inside. She's hit the front. Hold on! I knew he would come good in the later stage. I knew it.
I thought Koosh had it there. I thought the 3 dogs were just coming up there.
We are not walking home. We're drinking water tonight, lads.
The 5 fell in a hole, didn't he?
5 did. In fact, when one hasn't led there,
a lot of them did at that point.
Yeah. I mean, one wouldn't be his strongest stay, if I'm being honest, over this distance, but dear, 3 gave me a heart attack off the last bend. But Paul, you know what, Paul? We finished on a winner. The best race to win, the last race.
The lucky last. We need to do the Romford FA Cup draw. No one's told me who the winners are, so I will quickly work them out.
Thanks, Eddie.
Oh
dear, honestly, that was the shit or bust race, I'm telling you.
When we used to do Crayford on a Saturday night with our dogs, Mary Diver used to bail us out in that last race.
Mary Diver,
yeah, my favourite.
David.
Yeah, you said that again, Paul? Sorry, Paul, what did you say?
Craig, I've gone through the Australia now, Craig. I'm currently on Beer Moretti. Craig Grove just asked me. So, yes, 2 top bracket lagers, by the way. And I hope you'll finish on a winner. Koosh, it's been nice knowing you, pal. Okay, I wish you all the best. I hope you survive tonight. You go again next week, Koosh.
Rodney was Jack Bingham. I'm just writing down for the draw for Romford FA Cup semi-final. Gold Dust v Devon. Dogs beat each other in 3rd and 4th. Gold Dust was Dave K.
Sorry, Koosh.
What's Koosh saying?
Basically, I'm in the shit.
Don't lose another account, Koosh, please. Not another one.
PC. Paul, I am very happy, by the way, Paul Carpenter. I needed that win. We're in the profit tonight now.
You must have really backed that 5-4, was it?
Yeah, I've had a few good on that. In all fairness, I had a good bit. I had a decent lay on Droopy's Edition. I laid Droopy's Edition at 2.7 for a few quid, which got me level. And then I've literally I've gone all in. It was my lap in the night. It was odds on, I thought, about even money earlier. And when I've seen 2.4 on the machine, honestly,
as I said, Mary Divey at Crayford used to just do it for us every single time. If you've had a bad night, then you just go Mary Divey.
Yeah. That was that really. Do you remember lots of Ribalatum and stuff? Like Ribalatum, and you're talking like that's like the Adagio Bob era, isn't it? Where it was just
Mark Wallace, wasn't it?
Mark Wallace, yeah, he had Ribalatum and Ribble Ion, I think it was, who was a bit shorter runner. They were the peak Romford Friday night days for me. 5-star Clipper and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What was the one of Wallace's, the one dog again, who used to win?
Adagio Bob? No, that was a wide runner, wasn't it?
Roswell Romanov.
Yes.
They are the nights that got me onto Romford Friday nights.
That run at Harlow as well, Ros.
The dog that ran in the match race, you mean? That one?
That was the match race that was the Ledger winner. Who was that? And Magic, wasn't it? Who was that?
It's a Roswell dog, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. The match race was was Roxanne Magic, wasn't it?
It was Roxanne Magic, yeah.
And it beat the one of Wallace's who won the Ledger, but over 750, and they smashed Magic really late. I remember it.
Yeah.
Ruby's Rascal.
Was it?
Ruby's Rascal was the dog, yeah. Roxanne Magic and Ruby's Rascal.
Same owner, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think remember it used to be Romford Friday night along with Sunderland. And Sunderland used to have really good A1s at the time. I think Sunderland was decent, and they used to have that handicap dog. Was it
something Tom?
Something Tom. Yeah, there was a good handful of handicap dogs in 6. That's the one, Dave. Yeah, Dylan, Ruby's Rascal. Yeah, Tom Charlie. That was the
Yes, that was it.
But yeah, Friday nights used to be a big highlight of the week for me. Like back in the day, with them really. The standard of dogs then for me was just ridiculous. Yeah.
And then
good night in the end.
Then you had Chop Hope, didn't you?
Chop Hope, Condotti Alex, Calco
Head it on Tom.
Calco Flyer, Condotti Alex. I think they had a bit of a rivalry.
Yeah, I took a load of work colleagues to Romford one Friday night and absolutely smashed into Head It On Tom, and I got everyone at work to pile into it. Got beaten by a head. Such is life. Right, Romford FA Cup draw in the middle. I've got every race here, so we can have a bit of a spread, and I've got the 4 people who are in it, which is Fat Was, Dave K, Man About Dog, and Jack Bingham. So the first race in the draw it's an early one. It's the 6:28. I scribbled these pretty quickly. And the first name drawn, Dave K. Will play. That was. Next race, second semi-final. Oh, early ones this week. 7:56. First drawn. Jack Bingham will play. Man About Dog. There we go. 6:28. Dave KV Fat Was. 7:56. Jack Bingham v Man About Dog. Should be quite competitive, those early races. Good luck to all of you. It's quite a big cash prize for Romford FA Cup this year. We're on bond FFS, Tom. Sorry. That is the way of the draw.
I was just having a look to see if the draw for the Essex Vase has been done. It hasn't.
What, TV Gold, David? TV Gold? I've got to say,
Tom, I
don't know about you, but the 2 guests, Ryan and David, have been excellent tonight.
Absolutely superb. Really enjoyed it tonight.
It's been a pleasure. Really good company as well, Paul.
Yeah.
Really, as always, by the way, Paul, you know what we got.
Yeah,
but
really good.
I really appreciated it, and I hope everyone has had a really enjoyable
And
night.
if anyone has won a few quid and they want to give to the crowdfunding just to help the retired ground trust at Sheffield, then please do.
Right, who's drunk the most, by the way?
I've only had 3 pints tonight. I've been taking it easy.
Me,
So
7.
7?
Paul, you've definitely had the most, Paul.
7. Well, I needed it to keep my throat clear for the commentary.
It's 7 premium lagers as well, isn't it?
Premium lagers down to LA.
I think Errol's the same, isn't he? All the comms.
Yeah.
And you've there was this one as well. 9:18 p.m. for PL's first piss this week, which smashed last week's record by 39.83 seconds. New track record.
Well done, John Rammer. Good man.
I think John should be on next week, which will be a treat.
Yes.
Great stuff.
Beautiful.
He is a real character, John. I'm looking forward to that.
And Ryan and David, you coming again, yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely. Really enjoyed it tonight. Really good night.
Brilliant.
Definitely.
Brilliant. Thank you.
It's been good fun. Thank you very much, all. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, David. Thank you, PL. Thank you, everyone, for the comments. They have amused us greatly through the night, especially the ones we weren't allowed to read out. So, that's it. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.